said casting and thrashing.
At first it was thrashing, and then I was like, that's nothing.
Yeah, that sounds
How
good.
you guys feel
I
about
like
Ruffles?
I like thrashing, but
Basically,
How do you feel about Ruffles? They're the best. They're so good.
The best?
The best?
Right? Okay,
The
maybe
best?
not the best, but they're
man,
up
I was
there.
genuinely
Best.
concerned about Chad's statement, and then you said they're the best.
All right.
They're
My
fine.
favorite chip is Utz ruffled plain potato chips.
Wait, hold on, pause.
No.
What are the top 5 best chips?
I think. Ooh, that's tough.
This is a chip podcast now. We're doing it.
Top 5 best chips.
Doritos
Is this
Cool
like?
Ranch.
Is this subjective?
Doritos Cool
or
Ranch is
this
probably
It's,
up
yeah,
there.
it's subjective.
It's subjective. All right, then it's the white cheddar puffed Cheetos.
That's not a chip.
It is
that's a
definitely.
chip.
It's
It's a
it's,
snack.
Are you saying
chip.
Cheetos are not chips?
It comes in a bag like a chip.
Cheetos
so-
are not chips.
It's in the
they're
chip
puffs.
aisle.
Yeah,
It's
they're
all.
puffs.
It's amongst all the chips in the grocery
It's a
store.
bag snack.
So
It's
if
in
I
the chip
grab
aisle, yeah.
a bag of bologna and I toss in the chip aisle, does it become a chip? No.
Oh no, because
Exactly. Thank you,
that's
Jay.
just
Find it
you
there.
messing up where
Actually,
it
what's
goes.
funny is
There
like
is
that
doesn't
cheese
usually go there.
exactly
And the
one
salsa.
exception to the chip rules, and it's pickles because they're weird. But barring pickles, chips are chips.
Okay. All right.
Where did pickles come from?
You know, pickle chips.
How are we
It's a
talking
thing.
about pickles?
I was just.
It's a
you
pickle
know, It's
podcast
not
now.
important.
Wait, but all right, but the list. What were you gonna say? Before you got interrupted, we're gonna go with it. That's fine. It's a chip.
All
We'll
right.
just
Here's
continue.
the question then. What I really need to know do pita chips count as chips? Because they're not in the chip aisle.
What's the second word?
But they're not in the chip aisle. Is the
I
problem?
don't care. So are Cheetos. They're not chips though. It's anarchy out there. They
Cheetos
just
aren't
be putting
chips?
stuff places.
Mm-hmm.
What about pretzels?
Pretzels
what
aren't
about-
chips.
Not chips.
They're in the chip
pretzels.
aisle.
They're pretzels.
I don't care.
No, they're not. They're in the snack aisle.
Gosh. Okay,
Mm.
fine.
What about pretzel crisps?
That's just
Ooh,
pretzels with
That
more
is
steps.
harder.
All right,
is-
since we
that's
took so long on top
I'm gonna lean
5,
towards that's not a chip. That's a pretzel.
we're going down to top 2 for each now because it took so long on top 5.
Mm.
So Aaron said whatever he said. I don't even know what he said, but people just jumped down his throat for it. So you know,
It's no.
What about
no,
Pringles?
It's
Are
white
Pringles a chip?
cheddar
Yeah.
Cheetos.
What do
like
you
cheddar
mean?
Cheetos.
Actually,
cheddar
Pringles
cheese.
are crisps.
Okay, what was your second?
Yeah, because Pringles are like distinctly.
I think they're
Oh.
legally
Different.
not allowed to call them potato chips.
Yeah, because
Second
they're not made
favorite
with
chip.
potato, but they're chips.
I think
No, they're
I,
potato crisps.
I think honestly, my second favorite chip is just a classic Stacy's pita chips. They're just so good, just unbeatable. You dip them in anything.
I think mine would be.
Whoa, hold on. I'm assuming we're
Garden salsa
eating
sun
these
chips.
without dip.
You don't even need dip with pita chips. I'll
Okay,
just
that's
nom nom
Yeah,
on those
he
things.
just eats pita chips.
Plain
straight
pita
up.
chips?
Plain pita
Alright,
chip, dude.
All right, Alex, let's
Jesus
yours.
Christ.
Garden salsa sun chips.
Hold on.
You got a second?
Okay.
I said Cool Ranch Doritos earlier.
Okay. Was that Cool Ranch is 1 and then Sun Chips a second?
Probably.
Okay. Ben, what about you?
Utz plain ruffled potato chips. And
It's wild.
Yeah.
Just
I don't-
It's
Ruffles?
hard.
Just straight Ruffles?
The
Wow.
ruffle ones, yeah. Not
Just
the
wow.
not the
I don't know
Ruffles
why
brand,
I have
but like
more
the,
of a
the
problem
Ridges
with that.
one.
Than the
But,
pita chips.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with Alex on the Cool Ranch Doritos being my number 2.
They're really,
Heck yeah.
Ranch.
they're really good.
All right, what do you got, Jake?
If you say Funyuns, Jake, I'm gonna slap you through this.
Well,
screen.
I'm not.
It's not a
Onions
chip.
aren't chips.
He wouldn't say that.
I would say Doritos.
I'm going to get absolutely ostracized for my...
Oh,
I
you
see.
are
Yeah.
straight up. I can
Like
tell already.
nacho, like standard Doritos.
Yeah, just regular.
No, those are
Classic
good.
Doritos. They're
Yeah.
the best ones in my opinion. And then sour cream and onion nuts.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt
Love
briefly.
this.
Jake, fun fact, we found out when we were in Ireland, because one of the guys we were hanging out with there admitted he had never had nacho cheese Doritos. That's not a thing outside of the
How's-
United States.
How?
What?
How?
They don't have them in
Weird.
Ireland.
What do they have? Do they have any Doritos?
They
I mean-
do, but they're flavors I had not heard of.
They had
Weird.
ketchup flavored Lays when we were in Italy, so you know they have.
Isn't nacho cheese Doritos like the OG Dorito?
You would
Yeah,
think
have
so.
it.
I think
Ah.
like
See, is it even a chip? It's a Dorito. Is the thing?
doesn't
What?
The
Cool
main
Ranch-
It's a
Dorito
branded
in-
chip.
I think the main Dorito in Ireland was like tangy cheese.
Heck yeah.
No,
Weird.
it was
Heck
something
yeah.
else.
I
It was
think
something weird.
in other countries instead of Cool Ranch they're called Cool American, right?
Oh,
Is that a thing?
Actually, no,
I
they're
like
called
that.
Cool Original in Ireland.
Cool
They
original.
have cool original Doritos, tangy cheese Doritos, and chili heatwave Doritos.
Is that though just a rename of original Dorito, Cool Ranch Dorito, and
I
the
don't
spicy
think so
one?
because we got the Irish guy some actual Doritos from the U.S., like our normal ones, and he was like, "I've never had anything like this in my life."
Wow.
How
He
did
was
you
like-
get them to him? Did you just
we-
have Doritos?
No, we had this conversation ahead of time on the phone, and we flew some Doritos to
Ah.
Ireland for him.
What?
It was a whole thing.
Did you declare those through customs?
No, because they weren't worth enough money to need to be declared.
Wow.
Oh,
Yes.
what's food? Well, okay, I may have committed some crimes. This isn't being recorded, is it?
Yeah, no.
Oh
you're
my
fine.
gosh.
All right, Chad, what do you got?
All
Wait,
right,
did
so-
Jay give both his? He did. He did.
Yeah,
Hated.
yeah.
Because I'm a freak, I like the dill pickle chip Lay's. My number
I've
one.
actually been wanting to try
You could just
those.
eat pickles.
I
That's
mean,
different.
It's your
dill
number
pickle chip
one.
is so good. That's my number one. That I get that
Wow.
all. That's the one that I will pick up in the store.
At least
all
I'm
the
not
time.
yelled at that it's not a chip.
The second one.
That's chip in the name. I don't know what to
Fritos.
tell you.
Is Fritos?
Fritos.
Fritos are pretty good.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think-
Fritos in a hot minute.
That's fair. They're not my favorite, but I'm
Fritos
never
slap.
unhappy with them.
I think the problem is people really talk poorly about Fritos, like they're just the garbage chip of the chip world. And
Yeah.
I really think they have some
They slap.
value.
Mhm.
First of all, you guys ever had like chili cheese covered Fritos? I mean, just bomb.
Have you ever had the chili flavored Fritos?
Yes,
Oh.
also bomb.
Divine.
Don't Fritos have the barbecue like twist ones also?
Oh,
Those are really
Those
good.
are
Yeah.
good. Those are
Those are
dangerous.
so good.
I also just like a really good
Although that's-
barbecue chip.
That's
Mm,
kind
standard
of reaching
barbecue
from
chip.
but
That is kind of reaching because that's a spiral. You would almost call that a pretzel. Almost.
it's almost like it's like a piece of
wait.
pasta.
It's not really chip format.
I would
per se.
say Dots pretzels not in a pretzel format.
Yeah, but not in the
But
chip
it's still
format
a
either.
pretzel.
No,
They're
but they're in a
called
closer
pretzel
format to the
rods.
spirals
All right.
than they
How do y'all
are.
feel
A chip. Hold
about?
on, I'm googling the definition of a chip.
How do you feel about bugles?
About what? Bugles?
That
Well,
chip.
that's tough. Do they take the chip and then
actually
form
tough.
it into a bugle? So it technically was a chip and then it became something
All right.
else?
I have.
All
I
I
have
know
an
is their
answer.
claws.
Is this is specifically to North America, I will
Okay,
say.
okay.
It says a thin slice of food (parentheses typically potato) made crisp by
Ooh.
being fried, baked, or dried and eaten as a snack.
Ooh, that's tough. They use the typically potato phrase there. They
But
really
it's not
want to
always
be
potato. But it is a
inclusive to
thin
all the
crisp.
tortillas and pitas of the world.
But it's okay because pitas are still a thin slice of food.
I know, that's what I'm saying. They're like
Cheetos,
So-
typically potato. They're
Cheetos, not a thin slice, not a chip.
Anything that's thin and crisp is a chip.
Oh no.
By this definition,
I don't like where he's going with this.
Why-
I'm just clarifying.
a thin and crisp that is food. It does say food
And
before
eaten
you
as a
go
snack.
wherever you're going.
I'm also
Okay.
remembering now I have had pretzel chips where chips is in the title and they're
Yeah,
in like chip format.
Yeah,
I've had
I think
pretzel
by this
crisps.
definition, Jake, unfortunately, those really thin, crunchy pretzels would count as chips.
Oh, that's stupid.
I know.
It's just wrong. This is wrong.
We must bow to the dictionary.
We must. Hey everybody, welcome to the Chipcast,
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
also known as The Forecast, a bi-weekly podcast about everything games, film, and news. I am Aaron Juno.
I'm Alex McCausland.
I'm Ben Diaz.
I'm Chad McCausland.
And I'm Jake Petterkyle.
On today's episode number 191, Sam Altman asks for just a little bit of money, while Nvidia sees a record valuation. Madam Web finds itself in the company of other great films, and Sony makes a bold statement. Also, Helldivers is taking the internets by storm. Microsoft and Sony are somewhat working together, and of course, we've been playing some games. If you'd like to know more about what we do, you can follow us on our social channels, so you can check out our website at readthehorizon.com. We have a ton of original content for you to browse through, including our multi-arc Starfinder adventure, The Discordant Signal. Additionally, everything we talk about is in our cast notes, which is pushed out to whatever podcasting app you are using. Guys, it's time to get into it with some good old action. Are you prepared? Are you
I hope I
mentally
lose
ready?
this week.
You might. You very well might. It is time, boys and girls. It's time for some video game immaculate grid. Are you excited?
I'm kind of excited.
I've done
I've
so
got
poorly the last
trepidation.
several. I'm not very excited.
Alex, I'm pretty disappointed in your performance, honestly.
Hey,
I'm not.
Alex, you're doing better than me. My new
I don't-
goal for these is to get one right. If I can get one
I
right,
know-
I'm happy.
I don't think we wanted to say this, but Alex, if you don't win this one, you're off the cast.
Yeah.
This is it. So like
That would be
you
the
know.
next-
I mean, I'm
It
on
would
a
be the next
3P
strike.
right now, right?
Yeah,
Damn.
so I will bring that up. Yes, give me 1 second.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. Welcome to Video Game Immaculate Grid, the puzzle game, where the games are made up, scores don't matter, and the game master can't build puzzles. VGIG, as we call it, takes our cast members' game knowledge that puts it to the test. This is puzzle number 6. Very excited. Let me go over the details of the rules before we start and make sure everybody's on the same page. 1, we use Mo Games database, of course. 2, to be used for Video Game Immaculate Grid, has to have a minimum of 5 critic reviews. 3, points are based on the number of games. And Ben, yes, I have fixed this since last week. I do apologize. I think they are correct now. If there's one answer, it's worth 10 points. 2 answers, 9, so on and so forth, down to 1. I was off, and I got called out
What?
last time.
Why'd you point that to me? Did I call you
Because,
out?
yeah, you're the one who called me out. You don't remember this?
Oh, no. Well,
I couldn't
He's
sleep
pretty
that night.
drunk.
Could not sleep that night. Number 4, 3 strikes and you're out, but points still stand at the end of the game, so you can still win. 5, the most points at the end of the game, wins the title of Chad's temporary best friend. Number 6, saying final answer locks in your answer to the Game Master. 7, games are locked out unless they are the only answer for a 10-point space. 8, items included this week are collections, definitive editions, deluxe editions, remasters, remakes, and we are excluding expansions. Bonus points available this week.
Oh.
2 each, and we will go over those in un segundo,
I have
as they
a
say
fine
in
print
Spanish.
question.
Yes, what's your fun question?
The Chad's temp best friend. Is there a time limit for that?
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes.
Oh,
It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
But it's pretty cool. I mean, honestly.
I thought maybe it would be from like this cast to the next cast because like
Oh.
somebody else like
Honestly,
take that.
since you are a Triple Crown winner of VGIG, I will let you decide the duration of the title of Chad's temporary best friend. How about that?
Yeah, I mean we could just do it till next cast and then
Okay,
you know,
all right,
you
2
know,
weeks, a fortnight.
if the
Got
VGIG
it.
happens, like you could come up with something else, I guess.
Okay, cool. All right, let's set up the grid, which is already set up here. We're going to talk about the scores. Right now, Chad is in fact in the lead with 3 wins. Yes, that is correct.
I'm
3
baffled.
W's. Alex has 1. Jake and Ben, I need you to represent.
But Alex won the first one and I won just 3 in a row after that.
Yeah,
Yep.
Caleb has 1 too.
Oh, okay.
I think there was a
We've done that
swap in
many
there.
already.
Yeah, this is number 6. So if you do math,
my
3 plus
gosh.
1 plus 1's 5, and now this is number 6. So yeah. Anyway,
That's hard.
points. Let's take a look at the points on the board this week. Last week it was a little bit complicated. I decided to simplify a little bit for this week. There are more games on the board, more things for you to guess. And last but not least, let's talk about the categories. Have first remastered games. By the way, I think the way I'm going to phrase this is the title of this VGIG is that game was just so good that ...
Oh,
So remastered games.
shoot, I probably
Second
haven't
category.
played any of them then.
Series adapted games, meaning that this game was adapted to a TV series.
Oh, boy.
And last but not least, tabletop adapted games.
I'm losing this
This
week.
does include board games and card games for what it's worth.
Is this video games that were turned into a tabletop game or the reverse?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. No, video games that were turned into a tabletop game. In the other 3 categories, we have a Moby score of 8.8. We have been doing critic scores ever, I think since we started this, but Moby score is essentially just an amalgam of critic scores and user scores. So I think it just gives us a slightly more accurate representation of like a greater audience rather than just having critics do it. So this is kind of narrowing down that field a little bit. So a Moby score of 8.8 out of 10. We also have a release 2016. And last but not least, we have publisher Ubisoft.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. All right, so let's roll
Ubisoft,
1d5. If I roll a 1, 2, 3, or 4, it's one of you guys. If 5 or 6, we'll re-roll. Let's see what happens here. The good old dice. Man, every time it just works. Jake, you are going to be the first person up
first?
this week.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
No.
Aren't you excited?
I guess. Okay.
Oh, let me give you 2 quick caveats because I did say there are bonus points. Importantly, bonus points are going to be awarded. It is 2 points per thing that you give me. But when you guess a series adapted game or a tabletop adapted game, if you can tell me both the name or either the name or the release year of what that thing is, whether it's a series or a board game or card game or whatever, I will give you 2 bonus points for each of those.
If I get it wrong, do I not get anything?
You don't get anything. You don't get anything. You have to get it right, and then I'll give you bonus points on top of it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm just going to do series adapted games, MOBI score of 8 or more. The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, well.
Final answer.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
All right. Series adapted games, MOBI score 8.8 plus. That is correct.
Let's go.
That is correct for 9 points for Jake. You're on the
Good start.
board. Ben, what do we got?
Remind me, we can't guess something that can we guess something that's in the same slot if we, or is it already
No.
taken? It's already taken. All right.
Once a slot is taken, you cannot guess any of the other games that were in that slot.
All right. I'm going to do remastered games released 2016. And I'm going to say, I think
I will say, before you guess anything, I will say remastered titles do not hold the same slot position as a non-remastered title. So keep that in mind. Like if you were to say like, Quake and then Quake remastered, those are two different things.
Noted.
One other question about that. Is a remaster and a remake the same or different?
They're the same. For
same. Okay.
For this specific purpose, they are the
Fair
same.
enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think this came out in 2016. I'm hoping I'm right. I'm going to say Skyrim Special Edition.
Okay, you're going to say 2016 remastered game.
I don't know. Chad's laughing at me like I'm a complete idiot.
No, I'm laughing because I feel like any date there, Skyrim can still
You
work.
could say any year, and Skyrim probably came out that year. It's actually a really good guess.
Yeah, final answer.
All right. Based on the database,
Nah.
however,
Bang.
I tell you what, I will give you some points if I can find that there was a Skyrim release in 2016 because I think that is only fair.
Wouldn't be
gotta be, man.
surprised.
So we're gonna go. Let me do this real quick.
Well, it's not my turn. I'm
Skyrim.
checking.
I would check on the Moby Games database. It'll tell you all the releases by platform. You can check elsewhere too, but just let me know. All right, on to Alex. What are we gonna guess here?
Remastered games, 8.8 plus, Last of Us remastered.
I don't know what this means. It says June 4th, 2016.
Stupid.
And then it came out October 28th, 2016, special
Yeah,
edition.
Yeah, I'm seeing Skyrim Special Edition 2016.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's not classified as a remaster or remake. I will have to look. I tell you what,
It's a quote unquote special edition.
Well, I'm just saying, can we find it in Moby Games to figure out when
It says it's a remaster for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows.
Wow. You know what, Ben? Do you want those points?
I would
Yeah.
love those points.
All right.
I never
take
get
us next
points.
away.
Yes!
We will give you 3 points on the board. That is no longer on the board. It's just going to be grayed out, but just keep in mind there is Skyrim Special Edition there for 3 points for Ben.
Fair enough.
Okay. Alex, what was your guess again?
Remastered games, 8.8 plus, The Last of Us remastered.
Final answer?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Why are you guys taking the easy ones?
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Get out of here.
I will
Um,
say, I did look up Skyrim's... Oh, no, it's a very special edition. Never mind.
Jake, I didn't give you the opportunity here, but if you want to take it, bonus points are still on the board for your guess previously. Because you didn't say anything, and we kind of skipped on past it.
Yeah, well, I got nervous. I didn't want you to take away my points. I felt good about The Last of Us. What year did The Last of Us TV show come out? Recently. One of the last few.
You can guess a year if you want. It's up to you, or you can just not. You can just.
Will
not
you
guess.
take away my points if I'm
I will
wrong?
not. I will not take away points for a wrong answer, but you only get one guess.
Okay, 2022.
Final answer.
Final answer. Okay.
Nice try. Chad, we're on to you.
Yeah, I'm just going to go remastered games Ubisoft.
Ooh.
I'm hoping this is right, but who knows? Prince of Persia. Fan Before Time?
Final answer.
Yeah, that's my final answer.
Was that a remake?
That is incorrect. I'm sorry. That is one strike for
I feel like
Chad.
they remastered some of them. I just
I
don't know
thought
which
that was
ones.
like a brand new game.
They were working on a Prince of Persia remaster, but it's been in development hell forever.
Is that what's
But there
happening?
are multiple games called Prince of Persia,
Yeah.
There are a lot of titles.
so I
Prince
don't
Persia.
know. I mean, it's not like a remaster. I don't know.
Jake, you are back up. 9 points on the board.
Shoot. Okay, quick question.
Yes.
series adapted, is that TV shows only, or do
is.
movies count as well?
Only TV shows.
Shit, then I have no
Actually,
idea.
Can
I
I
was gonna
tack
say
on a
Prince of
question to
Persia
his
for that.
question?
Yeah,
For
but it's
series,
not.
series adapted, released 2016. Is that the TV show came out in 2016?
That
or
is
the
the
video
game.
Okay, the game.
It is
Oh.
video game Immaculate Grid, not
yeah.
TV
Yeah,
show
yeah.
or series
Just-
Immaculate
okay.
Grid.
There was some confusion, but that's
Yeah,
fine.
you're good. You're good. You're good.
Thank you for the clarification.
No problem. Also, it is the second round. So if you guys want clues at this point, Jake, this is the first round of that. So I can dole out some clues as needed.
I'll take a clue for series adapted Ubisoft because I really
Series adapted
cannot think
Ubisoft.
of what it would be.
All right,
I guess
series
we'll-
I have a
adapted
thought.
Ubisoft. Cyber battles in a networked world revisited.
Is 9 mean there's only one answer?
9 means there's 2. 10 means there's 1.
Uh,
Oh, that was a movie.
I don't know. I'm gonna go for a different one.
'Kay.
I'm gonna go for. Yeah, I'll do tabletop adapted games.
'Kay.
Moby score 8.8 or higher.
'Kay.
I'm gonna go with Bloodborne. Final answer.
Final
Oh.
answer.
Yes,
That is correct. That is correct. 8 more points for Jake.
Let's go.
All right, before we move on, bonus
That's
points.
7,
Can
right?
you tell me the name of the game or the year?
The name of the. Oh.
And you
I
have to
mean,
get it
if-
exactly.
I have to
for
get it
this.
exactly.
Yes.
That was 7 points, right? Not 8.
Hold on, let me take it off there.
Alex, don't.
7 points. Yep.
Yeah.
thank you.
Alex, why do you like this?
wanted
Bloodborne
to
the
make
card
sure.
game. Final answer.
Do you want to guess a year? Each thing is worth 2 points for what it's worth.
2016.
Final answer on both those?
Yep. Final answer. Lock it in. Yeah.
That is a double.
Can you tell me what it is
incorrecto.
called?
I can tell you. It is called Bloodborne, the board game. And it was
Damn
released
it, I
in.
was so close.
It was released in 2021.
What? No way.
Yep.
That's
100%.
crazy. I thought
What
it was
is
older than
time?
that.
Ben, you are up.
What even is time?
I have another question.
Yeah, you always have questions.
I have so many questions because I'm usually wrong, but I like.
It's fine.
Listen,
What's your question? I'm
All
listening.
right, it's specifically related to the tabletop adapted.
Got it.
Does the one I'm thinking of right now, the
Mhm.
title of the tabletop game does not actually say the title of the video game whatsoever, but it's based on the video game.
Ooh, I could potentially give you points for it. It depends on what it is. I'll have to look it up. Or
So
the
the goal
one of-
this week is to just get things that aren't
Yeah.
technically
Just
in your list of
super
things.
skirt. Super
So I'm
skirt.
thinking, and I don't know if this is 2016. I think it might have been, but I think tabletop adapted games 2016 was that when they released the physical Gwent card game based on The Witcher. Is what I'm thinking.
Ooh. So this would be technically you'd be guessing The Witcher.
I think I'm technically guessing The Witcher 3 or The Witcher
Yeah.
series, but the board game I'm thinking of is Gwent. I'm not sure if it came out in 2016 or not. It might have come out later because I don't remember when the game came out. But I'm going to say final answer.
Okay.
All right.
The Witcher
Did-
came out in 2015. Witcher 3.
Did they make a physical version of Gwent?
Yeah, I have
They
it.
did.
Oh wow,
You
We
have
got
it.
it at PAX.
that's
Or we got
Wow.
like a tester at PAX 1 year for free.
That is 1 strike on the board for Ben. Alex, we are back to you. 9 points on the board. What are you going to guess?
series adapted games. Publisher Ubisoft.
Ooh.
I think it's Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Went the card game came out in
What?
2017.
Series adapted games, publisher Ubisoft. Is that your final answer?
Made
Yeah.
a series off of that?
No, they didn't, apparently.
That is incorrect.
Well, did they? But like not.
Or maybe it's not out yet. I remember a press conference, a crazy man being on stage for this.
All right. You in the same boat as me where it says coming soon?
Chad, we are back to you.
Oh God.
It is not out, Alex. By the way.
Okay. So it's in production still.
Yes.
Dang.
Well, I don't even know if it's in production. It just says soon. You know, like the classic. Oh yeah, sure, it's coming.
Soon.
That is 1 strike for you on the board. Chad, what would you like to guess here, buddy? You got 0 points. This is not looking like a Triple Crown winner.
This isn't boding well for me. I don't really have any guesses for any of these anymore after Prince of Persia happened.
Yoinks!
Take the hint. Take the hint.
It's funny because you know
you
so
know
many
what?
of these things.
I will take the hint. You know what? Publisher Ubisoft Remastered. Please hint me.
Publisher Ubisoft Remastered. You want a hint? Let's go with Uncover a Revolutionary's Tale with enhanced visuals.
What?
Can you use that in a sentence?
I will tell you this. Think of the keyword in this sentence is revolutionary. It is a more of a title than it is like a concept. Or more of a role. We'll call it a role. More of a role.
It's like one of those things where like you're just
Yeah.
in the spotlight and you're just
I know.
drawing a blank.
When you see it though, you'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, all right, yeah.
I'm thinking of so many Revolution titles now. But I just can't think of any Ubisoft.
Oh.
Ooh.
I am gonna do. I so wrong. Tabletop Adapted Games 2016.
Oh.
Dark Souls.
Alex, you may have stumped me here.
That's a good guess.
All right, sorry that I got stumped by Alex's
You're
guesses.
fine.
What was your?
I can repeat what I said. 2016.
Okay.
Tabletop. Dark Souls.
2016 tabletop. Dark Souls. Final answer.
Say it like that. Yeah, final answer.
Can you give me? I'm gonna tell you this. Can you give me which one?
Oh
What does that mean?
man.
It is based off of one game. Like, there's only one game that came out in 2016 that is a Dark Souls title
Yeah.
that the board game is based off of. Unless you can tell me which one it is, I can't award you the points.
I'm gonna say Dark Souls 3.
Final answer.
Yeah.
That's what I would have said.
It's gotta be. Yeah.
That is correct.
Well,
5 points.
I revisited my dorm room the year that I was playing Dark Souls 2.
All right. Can you tell me, for bonus points, what the name of the game is and what year it was released?
Are we talking for a board game?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
By the way,
I'm gonna
that's 5
say-
points for Chad, by the way. Alex.
I feel like it's just Dark Souls the board game.
Final answer?
And then hold on, but you want year, right?
Yeah, but you tell me one at a time, and then I'll validate either.
that'll be my final answer.
Dark Souls, the board game?
Yeah. Okay.
That's correct. 2 bonus points.
All right, and then 2018.
Final answer?
I don't like your face. The face you made. I don't like that.
I'm looking for this.
Yeah, final answer.
Final answer. That is incorrect. Nice try. It came out in 2017. Alex, I think I'm going to have to award you points here. Even though this is not in the database, I think this is accurate.
What does it say?
There's a Blood Dragon animated series on Netflix last year.
Blood Dragon?
Yeah, last year, and Blood Dragon was published by Ubisoft, so I think it does count, even though it's not correct in the database. Well, I'm
Does it get one
messaging-
less point than the board says because there's one more game? I guess I should get one less point.
Isn't that,
yeah,
So never mind. I'm shutting up.
Didn't that thing
that was-
come out on Netflix or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
It's on
Yeah, okay.
Netflix, yeah.
I will give you those points, Alex. You can have those 8.
8?
Alex, I'm glad
Sorry,
you
7.
and me
There's
we're
4
on the
titles.
strat of
7.
confuse Aaron
7.
by giving
Seven.
the correct
There's
answers.
There's
9,
titles.
isn't it?
There's 4
Series
titles.
adapted Ubisoft.
It's supposed to be
All
9.
right. If you're doing that, Aaron, then
Some
you gotta
points.
drop. You gotta drop a
What's
point
supposed
off
to
of
be
me.
9?
It's
Supposed to be
series
8.
after Ubisoft.
It's supposed
Bottom
to be 8.
middle.
Oh, sorry, wrong.
An 8,
Oh.
sure, because there's another one.
8.
If you want to do
You
that.
should be getting
8
8
points. Okay.
Aaron, you should drop me down to 2 then instead of 3 points.
Ben, shut your
Yeah.
mouth.
I'm
It's
just
not
trying to be
fair.
nice, guys. We're just skirting this.
I mean-
All right, here.
It won't matter, but it's fine.
All right,
Jake
look,
Alex
drop
is
them
do you
winning,
think my
so-
2 to 3 points is gonna make a difference?
And
So
mine-
Chad got 2 bonus points there. He should be at 7, and Jake, you are back up.
So if I lose
what's the
this game
scorekeeper doing
by
right now?
1 point, then I'll
Sleep.
apologize.
I didn't know you got
Jake.
the bonus.
Yeah.
He's googling freaking Captain Laserhawk.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was Far Cry. That's crazy.
So I've got remastered games, publisher
We're up to 2 clues,
Ubisoft.
by the way. If you want, you can get as much as 2 clues if you would.
What
like.
do I need a clue for when I got it, baby?
All right, listen.
Remastered games, Ubisoft, gotta be Assassin's Creed 3.
Hmm.
Final answer.
They
Gotta
remastered
be.
that?
Absolutely, they did.
8 points, baby.
Woo!
Nicely done. Nicely done.
Of all the ones to remaster, why that one? I don't know.
Good
That's
question.
what I was thinking.
Good question.
All right,
Ben.
so Ben guessed the next one. Alex guessed the next one, so
I'm
I don't
gonna
have to
go-
go again.
Ubisoft tabletop adapted games.
Okay. Yep.
I'm gonna say Civilization.
Final answer.
Yeah.
Ubisoft
did
doesn't make Civilization.
Oh, they don't.
They do not.
Shit.
That's
Well,
No, it's for Axis, I believe.
It is for Axis.
Although, are they a developer or a publisher?
I got messed up. I thought Firaxis was the developer and Ubisoft was the publisher. My bad.
I think, you know what, it's 2K, isn't it? It would be 2K, and then
It
Firaxis
is
is the
2K.
developer.
2K. Rex is the developer, 2K is the publisher, yeah.
Listen,
I
I just play
genuinely
games.
don't
I don't
know.
I don't pay attention to who makes them or when they're made. I
That's
just
hard.
play them.
That is hard. Alex,
Ubisoft
we are
tabletop, I don't know.
back to you.
There's apparently a lot of them, though.
Probably just Assassin's Creed.
It could be.
Can I get a hint for
Yeah, you can have as many as 2 hints.
Series Adapts 2016? What's that one?
Series adapted 2016. Let's go with Masked Rebels navigate Tokyo's shadows, challenging corruption. You get 1 more clue.
Is there another one for that category?
There is another one for that category. We can go with let's go with New Worlds, where daylight and moonlight shape adventures.
What?
Man,
I have no idea.
no idea for either of those clues.
What was the first one again?
First one was Masked Rebels navigate Tokyo's shadows, challenging corruption.
All right, let's think.
You can also just pass if you want to just take a strike, you know?
What about tabletop Ubisoft? What do I got there?
You can guess there. Nobody's gotten a clue from there yet.
Honestly, Assassin's Creed is a good guess.
Just
Yeah.
saying,
There's like
Assassin's
100
Creed.
of those games. I have no idea if there's a board game, though.
I'm trying to think of other Ubisoft franchises that could have been board gameized. They got
feel like-
Splinter Cell,
I feel like they don't have like a super diverse portfolio.
Rayman.
Did they make a Sims board game? That seems like something they'd make a board game of.
What would that even be about? What would you do?
It's like I assume Game of Life, but like Sims themed.
You know, okay. Fair point. Fair play.
Let's do tabletop Ubisoft Assassin's Creed, the board game. Or no, I have to say the game it would be based off of.
Which
Oh, is
Assassin's
it-
Creed?
So I had to pick an
no-
Assassin's Creed.
Wait, it's
Shoot.
just one. It's gotta be just like all of it, right? It's gotta be just Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's
like the first
Creed.
one.
Yeah, I'm going with the first game, Assassin's Creed. Let's try that.
Final answer?
Yeah. Dang.
Incorrect.
Do we have any more games that you could give clues for 2016 series?
For 2016 series?
We have
yes.
2 so far.
Yeah, there's 3 more titles in here.
All right, yeah.
All right,
one
you
more.
get 2 clues. Here you go.
One more clue, yeah.
A tale of vengeance and liberation on the high seas.
What?
They got to be cryptic clues. I can't give you too precise of clues. You got to think. I'm using keywords here
Could
to
you
demonstrate.
say that hint again?
Sure. We'll go with a tale of vengeance and liberation on the high seas.
Just to clarify, Is every game in this category started as a video game and then became a TV show?
Yes.
Correct. Cool.
Yes. So I went through and I checked the release date of the game and then checked it against the release date of the series that is based off of it. All of the series releases happened after the game releases.
Cool. So it's not a One Piece. Got it.
All right, we're gonna do one more clue for 2016 series.
All right. Let's go with bonds deepen amidst a pandemic's desolation.
Last of Us again?
Actually, can I give? Hold on. No,
Was
that clue's in the
there
wrong
a Last of
category.
Us
That clue's in the
came
wrong
out?
category. Hold on.
Okay.
We're gonna go with the other clue. It should be ancient myths and tactical battles intertwined. That's what it should be.
That sounds like a game I've probably played, and I can't think of what it would be.
That's rough. You would
You
think
can pass
that
if you want and get another clue later.
you would think this would be an easy category because, like, we would have heard about video games becoming shows.
2016 series, yeah.
Yeah.
Series adapted 2016. You know what?
You guys are gonna be mad when you hear one of them, but anyway, we'll go. That's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna develop a timer for next VGIG.
Oh no.
Oh
That
yeah.
last time.
Oh no.
Yeah. Are you passing, Chad?
Man, I mean, I want to guess at least one thing, but I have no idea what to guess. Like
Go
the
for
Pirates,
Ubisoft Tabletop.
Ubisoft
There's apparently a
Tabletop,
ton of
that's-
those, and Ubisoft has like 3 franchises. Did they
I'm
make a
s-
Far Cry?
Ubisoft
Far Cry board
Tabletop.
game, maybe.
Maybe.
Let's do a Splinter Cell. Final answer.
Original Splinter Cell.
Yeah, just original Splinter Cell, you know?
Why not?
Is incorrect.
What
straight
other
for Chad.
games does Ubisoft even fucking
I don't know.
make?
I've now guessed 2 separate video games that I
There's no
thought
way.
Ubisoft made that I was wrong about, so I'm just gonna give up on Ubisoft stuff. There's just no way. It's not gonna happen.
We have what, one more hint
I'm gonna
for
be like, did
2016
Ubisoft
series?
make Halo? I don't know. Like,
Is there a Rabbids game?
That's what I'm
Or
thinking.
this
But
show.
what game would it even be? All I know is
Um,
Rayman versus Rabbids.
the problem with quiz games like this is I'm so tempted to just start Googling things, and I'm
I
like,
know that's the problem.
no.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Stop
cheating.
cheating. Jake, what would you like to guess here? You're currently in the lead.
series adapted games released 2016. Persona 5.
Did they
Persona
make a
5.
series about that?
Final answer.
Final answer.
That is
Persona 5.
correct.
Wow.
The animation. It wasn't very good, but it did come out.
Okay.
Man.
So that's the name.
What clue was that for? Oh, did we get the clue for that?
Masked people fighting
Okay.
corruption in Tokyo.
All right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can
Man, you
give
kept your
me-
face so straight.
Oh, I
Yeah,
mean,
I saw it.
Man.
Yeah, I like reacted and I was like, oh no. They know, they'll know I'm a weeb.
Everyone will know if they
um,
see Jake excited.
See, and they'll be like, oh, it's some weeb shit. It must be Persona.
If you want bonus points, you can guess the name of the series and the year. You already guessed the name of the series. Do you want final answer for that?
Yeah, final answer for that.
Okay. Year.
2018?
Final answer.
Final answer.
All right.
Damn.
4 bonus
Whoa.
points. So that is 11 points total for that guess for
Damn.
Jake. Nicely
go.
done, Ben.
Nobody
with
can
2
even come back.
strikes.
He won. It's over.
All right. I'm gonna just just throw me 2 hints for the last section.
Okay, 2 hints for the last section. Let's go with Duel. No, let's go with let's start with this one.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Did Ubisoft make a Yu-Gi-Oh game?
Wait, maybe.
We're gonna go with build
The TV show came
empires,
first.
Build empires and new worlds, balancing discovery and strategy. That's
He
the
said
first hint.
civilization. No, I'm just kidding.
Pause.
Yep.
New
And then
Empires, New
the
Worlds.
second one I will get is or I will give you is command heroes and creatures in magical lands.
That's so vague.
Oh,
that could
boy.
be any video game
Um,
ever made.
all right. What was the first hint again? Sorry, could you say that?
Build empires in new worlds, balancing discovery and strategy.
I did already say Civ, but Civ is not a Ubisoft game. Did they?
Nope.
What Ubisoft has made some strategy games. I can't remember. Did they make? Wait. Did Ubisoft make Spore? Or publish Spore? Did they
That's
make a
on you,
Spore
Ben.
video game? Oh. This feels like another one of those games that I'm completely wrong on.
I feel like Spore might be Firaxis again.
No,
Same company. I don't know.
Technically, we're in 3 clue category now because
Oh,
Jake started the new round.
Then.
We'll give you a third clue. Gods and warriors clash in epic tales of power.
Again, pretty vague.
Ben, you're probably going to be really mad about
I am.
over half the titles in
I
this
bet
category.
there's like half of the titles in this category I've played, and I totally know. I'm like trying to think through strategy games I've played, and I don't know.
All right, I need a guess. What are you going to go with?
I'm gonna be wrong and say Spore.
Final answer?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Alex was close.
Do I have
It's not
permission?
Fraxis.
Do I
it's
have permission?
Maxis.
I was gonna say, do I have permission to
Maxis.
look up who made Spore?
EA Games made Spore.
Yay!
You got any more clues for this category?
For this category, we'll go with Duel for Cursed Sword with heroes and legends alike. Cyber battles in a networked world revisited, and for your third clue, you'll get Command the battlefield in strategic World War II scenarios.
Okay.
They're all so vague.
I'm
They
going to
have to
say Company of Heroes.
Oh,
Company of Heroes.
Final answer?
Yes. Dang.
No.
That's a strike.
Oh, great! I'm out of this game. I can start googling
wait,
stuff.
it's back to me? No.
It is back to you, Chad. Only one category left. Company of Heroes was published by, let's see, there's multiple people here. Sega, THQ. THQ is probably the main publisher.
THQ. Okay.
Can the next hint be like a list of
I mean,
Ubisoft games?
I've given literally all the hints. I'll give them all again. Gods and warriors clash in epic tales of power. Duel for the cursed sword with heroes and legends alike. Build empires and worlds, balancing discovery and strategy. Command heroes and creatures in magical lands. Cyber battles in a networked world revisited. Or command the battlefield in strategic World War II scenarios.
Yeah, that doesn't help
I
me.
feel like the revisited part of the cyber battle one is important. But I can't.
Is it? They didn't make Syndicate is all I can think of. There was a remake of Syndicate, but I don't think it was Ubisoft. I'm pretty sure that was EA. Or I mean, I get it could have been Ubisoft. I don't
Does
actually
feel
know.
like an EA game.
But what was that game? This is driving me fucking crazy. It was that game with the guy, his name was like Aiden. He like hacked stuff with his phone. It was like a GTA clone.
Oh,
Watch
Watch
Dogs?
Dogs.
Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs! I knew Dogs was in the name.
I mean, that's
It
a
was
guess.
driving me
His
crazy.
name was Aiden.
That's I knew
knew
so
that.
much about the game, but I didn't know
Bruh.
the fucking title.
That's like me the other day when I was calling out who was one shot in Fortnite. And I was like, Abel's one shot. The dude's he's the Weekend. That's his skin bundle. But I said Abel's one shot. I don't even know where that came from.
Guesses, Chad?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna steal that. I'm just gonna say Ubisoft, tabletop, Watch Dogs.
Final answer?
Why not? Final answer.
It's
Alright.
not.
It is not.
Jake, how do you have no
Jake.
X's yet?
Because I'm fucking good, baby.
Well, you've got this game in the bag
It's
pretty
got
much at this
35
point.
points.
So
Yeah, but I don't know this one.
Watch Dogs was in fact published by Ubisoft, for what it's worth. But there
I
is
knew it
not
was
a
Ubisoft.
game.
I didn't think there was,
board game,
honestly.
There's a
But-
board game on Board Game Geek called Dogs. So
That's
it's
close.
close.
That's very similar. A tactical World War II game or a game about a cursed sword. Cursed.
There's like no games with cursed swords.
I don't know what Ubisoft is made about swords.
This is the problem. We avoid Ubisoft games like the plague, so it makes it
I
difficult.
mean, more or
True.
less, yeah. No, that's not.
I mean, most of their games are just Assassin's Creed, so
Yeah.
I know, right?
I don't think there's any cursed swords in Assassin's Creed. I'm gonna go with Syndicate. Final answer. I'm almost certain
Didn't
that's
you already
wrong.
guess Syndicate here?
He is
I
not.
said it off turn and nobody took it. Yeah. Okay.
That is published by EA Games.
I knew it. I called it.
yeah.
Damn it.
Ben, you're out. Alex, you can't take the W here, but you can put some more points on the board if you want to.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess Beyond Good and Evil as an option, maybe.
That's good. Was there a hint related to Beyond Good and Evil?
I don't know.
That's a fair point, but it is a really good guess.
It was another franchise I thought of.
It was, yeah.
Let me check. I just don't want to. You guys are naming a whole bunch of stuff that are outside of the. Ooh. Beyond Good and Evil?
Yeah.
Final answer?
Yeah.
I think
Oh
I'm going
my
to give
God.
this to you.
Oh.
You made a board game.
Yeah, I believe it is based on the same thing. It might not be based on the same thing.
Oh.
Take it back. Take it away from me.
Yeah, it's a strike.
Oh,
That's
no.
a third strike. Jake, I thought it was based on that, but I think it is something else. There is a game called Anima Beyond Good and Evil, but I don't think it's based on the Beyond Good and Evil series.
I don't think it is. There's something with Gods and Kings.
I mean, you got the W. If you just want to say
I
give me
do.
2 strikes and we'll call it.
I'll
That's
go
fine.
with Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Okay.
Oh.
Because there's
Final
gods
answer?
in that. Final answer.
You still have 1 strike.
I still
Another
have
guess?
one. I have nothing. Just give me the strike.
It's 3
There
strikes.
were so many. What does Ubisoft make?
I
Is
know.
Black
right?
and White
know.
a thing?
Black and White is a thing. Is it Ubisoft?
I don't know.
It was Peter Molyneux, right? So I assumed it would be Lion Head.
Lion Gate.
Yeah. Lion.
Maybe.
Lion Gate.
Is it Lion Gate? Is it not
Lion Gate.
Lions Gate? That's the
Lion's
movies, right? Isn't
Head.
it? Lion's Head. I'm
Lion's
just
Head.
gonna.
Do you want me to walk you through all of them real quick?
Please do.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the options we had for remastered games. Moby score 8.8 plus. We had Metroid Prime remastered, of course.
Oh, sure.
We also have The Last of Us remastered, which was guessed. For series adapted games, Jake, you could have gotten this 2 categories. Persona 5, 8.8.
Oh yeah.
Was Witcher not there?
And also The Last of Us. The Witcher is not there. It is an
Interesting.
8.7.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was the
Brutal.
first thing I was planning on guessing, and then it got taken quick.
Tabletop adapted games, we have God of War. Alex, I'm disappointed you've played this.
Didn't somebody steal that category before I could get there?
Oh, I guess that's true. Jake guessed. Well,
If
I
it was
think
me,
Jake guessed
he had
that
a shot
second
at
round.
it.
You had an opportunity to guess God of War.
I took
'Cause I-
Last of Us Remastered because it was the easiest thing on the board.
That
You know
was
that
really
does
easy.
make sense.
We also have a guess that you made elsewhere. We have Company of Heroes. Also, Chad's going to be mad. Gears of War. He didn't think of that.
Mm.
And last but not least, Bloodborne. For remastered games released 2016, there are several on here. Day of the Tentacle remastered.
Oh.
Bioshock the Collection. Darksiders War Mastered Edition. Battlezone 98 Redux. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. Halo Wars Definitive Edition. Wild Guns Reloaded. And Deadlight Director's Cut.
Okay,
Wow.
I'm not mad because what Gears head plays a board game?
I know.
Great point.
For series adapted games 2016, whoops, we'll get back to that. That's Rayman. Don't pay attention to that. Let me swap
It's
that
a
out.
Rayman series.
For series adapted 2016, we have, of course, Persona 5, which Jake got. We also have Pokemon Sun and Moon, which technically came out right after the games were released.
The show came out after
What?
the game.
It did come out after the games were released.
Kind of wild. Okay.
Okay.
We also have Tales
Would that
of
actually be a true
Berseria.
adaptation, though, or is that just Pokemon making more Pokemon?
I would argue that's not an adaptation.
It
6
does
of one,
have-
half dozen of the other. I don't know.
Yeah, it has the title. So I was like, if it includes the
Okay.
title, I'm going to say, if it's just Pokemon and it's like, oh, this is the season, sure.
I'm sorry, Beyond Good and Evil shared the same title.
Kinda.
Tales of Berseria, not sure how to say it. And last but not least, we have, I don't know how to pronounce this, Uta Wararumini.
Oh, fucking, I should have known that one.
Yeah, I don't know how you didn't
Man.
get that, Ben. I know you love
I'm-
Utanuru Naru.
I'm going to be honest, just based on the picture there, it looks like a game I would have played at some point.
It's UTAWARERUMONO. So Uta Wararumuno. Uta Wararumuno. Mask
That's
of
probably
Truth.
perfectly correct, yeah.
I'm sure it's exactly correct, phonetically. For 2016
Mask of
tabletop
Truth.
adapted games, we of course have Stardew Valley.
Oh, shit. They did make a
What?
tabletop game of that.
Yes, they did.
Dark Souls 3, good guess, Chet. Doom. Yes, in fact, there is a
There's a
tabletop game for
tabletop.
Doom.
That's fun.
Wow.
Super Hot. There is a card game for Super Hot.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
Master of Orion, which I don't think any of us have ever heard of or played.
How
I think
do they
it's
treat the slow-mo and super hot
Yeah.
tabletop?
And last but not least, a game released just at the end of last year, Dead by Daylight, a board game. Weird.
Very weird.
Very weird. Remastered games published by Ubisoft. We have Rayman 3, Hoodlum Havoc.
Rayman existed.
Assassin's Creed Remastered, which we guessed, and Heroes of Might and Magic 3 HD Edition. Series adapted games, Rayman, and Mega Man Battle Network.
Oh, there was a Mega Man show.
an anime. That
They
was
own
a
Mega
good
Man, huh?
cartoon.
They do,
Yeah.
they do.
I didn't know
and then, of
Ubisoft
course,
owned them.
the extras that you guys guessed.
No,
and last but
Mega
not
Man's
least,
Capcom.
This is where I'm
Ben,
going to get mad, I
your
assume.
favorite category, tabletop
Mega Man
games,
is Capcom.
publisher Ubisoft. We have Age of Mythology,
Should have known that.
Oh, okay.
Soul Calibur 4.
Ubisoft makes Soul Calibur? There's
They didn't
no
make 'em
fucking
all.
way.
They didn't make them all, but they published
Also,
Soul
wait,
Calibur
Soul
4.
Calibur, there was a board game?
Yes, there was.
Wild.
It's a card game. It's like a fighter card game.
Weird.
We also have Anno 1701 and Anno 1800.
I'm not surprised there's a board game, but I...
Ugh. We have literally any of the series of Heroes of Might and Magic. They are all board games, essentially.
Wow.
That
Mega
does
Man
make
Battle
sense.
Network, yet again.
Okay.
And last but not least, Panzer General Allied Assault, which was in fact an Xbox arcade game that was turned into a board game a year later.
Man. A lot
There's
of picks,
several
a lot
in there, I
of
should've
weird
known.
ones, though.
A lot of weird ones.
I
Good job,
legit,
you
I
guys.
thought Soul Calibur, and I was like, Ubisoft doesn't make Soul Calibur. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Do you think that the Dead by Daylight board game creators played Betrayal on the House on Hill and were like, we just want the part where we're betraying, like, to start
Probably.
right away?
That would make
I
sense.
bet.
I could see that. Nice job, Jake, our winner, 35 points. You will be crowned, of course, Chad's temporary best friend.
What an
played.
honor.
Well played. All right, let's
There
take
we
it back
go.
to the
Look out.
actual podcast.
Oh, we actually do the
Um,
podcast?
Yeah, we should, honestly. I think. I mean, if you guys are okay with it, I think we should do the podcast.
I got some time to kill.
As long as we discuss chips more, it's acceptable.
Chips more, you got it. Okay, all right. So let's get into a couple things topically. First and foremost, I kind of wanted to bring this up because I think it's interesting.
Topically.
You guys are familiar with Sam Altman, right? The CEO, operator, runner, the head man, organizer of OpenAI, the one
CEO
company that
and then-
publishes ChatGPT.
For like a few days, not CEO, and then CEO again.
Actually,
Yes.
when I read this, I was thinking of Sam Bankman-Fried, the crypto guy.
Oh.
Not
A
quite.
lot of
not quite.
Sam's in the news. Very
A lot of Sams.
bad
You know
time for
about-
Sam's.
Them kicking him out of the company, right?
Yes.
And then bringing him back? Okay.
And then
That was
they
crazy.
fired 2 board members. They're like, "You're an idiot," and brought him back.
Yeah.
Weird fact, but we'll cover that weird fact later. I wanted to bring this up because I think it's interesting. He has been in the news a lot lately because of multiple different things. One, he runs OpenAI, which is the most popular AI generative software development company in the world, owned by Microsoft. He also has been in the news because he's like the main guy that Congress will call in to answer questions about AI. even though they're not doing anything about it to restrict its growth and development, they're like, oh, he's the guy we need to talk to about safety features and protocols of usage. And I'm sure they're also behind closed doors like, how can we use this for like military applications? That sort of thing. He's the guy they bring in. Also, he has been in the news recently because he has a plan. And his plan is basically this. He believes that general AI, which is like the AI that everybody wants to get to, which is essentially just like an actual general intelligence, think, act, feel like a human, would pass the test, pass the Turing test. That general intelligence is where he wants to be. And the problem is we are limited by one factor alone, and that is chips. We're talking about chips, man.
Oh my god, we did it.
We got there. We made it back. Chips are the hardest thing, the most difficult component when it comes to doing artificial intelligence. It requires tons and tons of processing power, which is why companies like Nvidia's stock is skyrocketing. One thing we'll talk about here in a second. But Sam's goal is basically like, I want to get to generative AI, or to general AI. So what I want to do is I want to raise an absolute garbage ton of money. Now, when I say the phrase, an absolute garbage ton of money, what do you guys think is an absolute, like, what would you just put a number on it? What's an absolute garbage ton of money?
Is this like you want us to lowball it, or should
No,
I say
just
what I
guess
think?
Just
And then
guess
when
a
it's
number that you
higher
think
than
is
what
like,
you're about to be like, and then it's
no,
just
it's
like
totally
kind
fine.
of deflates.
You can guess whatever.
Okay.
You want me to tell you what? How much?
Couple billion.
Okay, a couple billion. Anybody
If
else
you
want
wanted
to
to
guess?
fight him, you should be like $100 trillion.
That's true. You could do that.
$30.
$30.
30
Okay,
as a
good.
garbage.
Good,
$30
good guesses across the board. Sam Altman wants to raise $7 trillion
That's a lot.
to make and manufacture chips. And his whole goal is to raise this money and then influx the chip manufacturers with tons of money buying chips so they can bring them over here and then start to use them for development in general AI. Important notes that I think we should consider when it comes to chip manufacturing. $7 trillion is, do you guys know who the biggest chip manufacturer in the world is? TSMC. They're based out of Taiwan. They like make literally every microchip in phones that basically exists. I mean, they're huge, absolutely enormous. $7 trillion is 219 times their entire capital expenditure for 2023, which was $32 billion. It is also 206 times the cost of the Manhattan Project. It is also 8 times more than the entire annual budget for the U.S. Department of Defense.
Why are you relating it to the Manhattan Project? Any in particular reason? It's
No,
like,
no particular reason.
Anything thematic about it that you would like to draw attention to?
It's just because Axios has this listed here. I think they're really interesting factoids. This is an absolute ton of money. And when I first heard about this, my first thought was he's literally trying to bring about like universal paperclips. Like this is the start. We asked for a ton of money to build chips, and then literally everything on planet Earth is used to build chips until we have to start devouring other planets for the resources in order to build chips so that we can get to general AI.
Yeah. You build self-replicating robots that build chips.
Yes,
And
exactly
consume
that.
all of Mars.
I think that's where we're headed. If he actually gets this to work, I think that's where we're headed. The only thing is, I really think this is interesting because it's one of the largest potential, hey, we need money in order to achieve something that's ever been like tested. And the other half of this in the news is Nvidia, which we're going to talk about kind of next, is that their stock has skyrocketed because they've been manufacturing chips for primarily things like OpenAI, but also there's other applications they've been working on, like, well, we'll talk about that in 1 second, but their stock price has essentially skyrocketed. But the founder of Nvidia came out right after this fundraiser announcement and said that the cost of compute has decreased by a factor of 1 million over the past decade. So this idea that we need to buy and manufacture all these chips to be able to compute or process things at the speed at which we're currently doing it now, over the next 10 years, which is going to take us to build these factories, the cost of compute is just going to, further by that much, another factor of 1 million or further, because we're going to be able to process and build, so much smaller of chips and make them more efficient and more effective and lower cost.
Yeah. Another interesting, fact is we're just now starting to put in units that are specifically made to process AI stuff and like neural networks and that sort of thing on processors. So like if we're evaluating it based on current processors, it's not at all relevant, I think, because like Intel's new chiplet design is going to have like, you know, neural processing built in, so it'll be way more efficient at that stuff.
Well, the other
Right.
half of that is too that this does not factor in anything with quantum computing, and we are very, very near the point at which that is feasible. I think they guess within the next like 6 to 10 years, we'll have an actual functional quantum computer that can process these things.
Yeah, Apple's updating iMessage to be resistant to quantum computer breaking their encryption.
Man, if you ever want to listen to something crazy, there is a really interesting podcast and they talk about the next step. Like when they're moving on from RSA, which is the current encryption we use for literally everything on the planet, or everything on the internet, going to the next step of whatever that is, it is so much more complex and convoluted and unique and weird and I don't know, just very interesting. Side note. I mean, are you guys okay? Should we all help Sam fundraise $7 trillion for
Awesome at
chips?
10.
You toss him a 10?
Yeah, I already sent him 30. I assumed that was all he needed, so I just sent that over.
I
pretty
don't
close.
mail him
That
a
is-
quarter. Is that fine?
I think that's fine. I think
Where do you get
every
$7 trillion
penny counts.
just out of thin air? You just can't.
I think my
who's gonna
favorite
have
part of
that
the
money?
story is that step 1 is just become far and away the richest human who's ever existed. And then there's more after that.
That's definitely always
It's
the first
just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give him the 7 trillion, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, this never was gonna work. Bye."
Thanks for the money. What are you gonna do about it? I've got all of it.
Yeah, basically.
I should also note that 7 trillion is 1/4 of the entire GDP of the United States.
Wow.
There's another number. It's a lot of money. Maybe someday. That'd be interesting. Somebody
I'd
could
believe in
fundraise
that.
7 trillion. Nvidia says no, though. 1 million times more effective at computing, or at compute. They're also, Nvidia is doing some crazy things recently with their chipsets, with their hardware. Alex and I were talking about this, I think just last week, really, about their ability to plug in sort of a localized version of a language-based AI to be able to do things on your computer. I don't know, maybe you can highlight better.
I mean, they just basically put out a beta of a product called, like, it's RTX AI. Like, you can run large language models on your personal graphics card through their application. And it's not like you've been able to do that in the past, but it's all like janky and kind of hacky and put together by enthusiasts. And this is like the first thing that I think has come out of like a major corporation that's like kind of like a polished product. Like you just click install and it boots up and runs, and you can ask it questions and it acts like ChatGPT. It has a couple of extra interesting features that you can't just get from like the web too. So like you can point it towards like a folder of like PDF and other text files, and it can answer questions based on those files. So like if you had a bunch of documentation for something and you needed to know where it was cited in the documentation that like something specific, it would just be able to tell you like, oh, it's in this PDF on this page. Or like I used it for just to check out what it could do. Like I gave it some tabletop RPG rule books and like asked it questions about mechanics, and it was able to like cite from the rule books like how the mechanics worked. Or you can also give it a YouTube URL, and it will go to YouTube and like, I don't know what it's doing really, processing the video in some way, but it can answer questions about the video. So I gave it like a top 10 Helldivers tips video, and I said, just list the tips for me. I don't want to watch a 20-minute video.
List the tips.
That's
And
cool.
it just like listed the top 10 tips that were in the video.
I'm gonna be honest. On paper, this all sounds cool. This sounds terrifying if somebody's able to like get control of your computer and then just want to find like records or, you know, point me the direction of this person's SSN or like, oh, holy crap. Like,
Yeah, like intelligent searching of your
Yeah.
system.
And then just
Yeah.
imagine in the corporate world, or like
Corporate
just,
espionage stuff.
Yeah, corporate espionage. Exactly. They just install this on your computer real quick after they, take it over, and then boom, they're just like, I got all your information. Like
corporations like could essentially use this, like they could point it towards all of their documentation for their product or whatever, and then users could be like, hey, how do I do this with this thing? And then the AI would be able to look through all of the documentation and pull out and like tell them step by step, this is how you would do what you're trying to do, without them having to research.
I feel like
The
I'm going to be
issue at
hearing
all.
about this at my security conference in November.
Maybe. The other interesting thing, kind of back on the sort of open AI side of this, is that they've come out with this new video generation model. It's not a large language model. It's something completely different on top of everything else they're doing. Have you guys, other than Alex and I, have you guys seen this stuff?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Listen, man, when you can enter a prompt that's like 3 lab puppies jumping around in the snow, and
Oh,
it
I
makes
have
something
heard of
that
this.
looks literally like you filmed 3 labs jumping around in the snow, baffling.
I feel like we're about to come into a day and age where we're going to have like organic media that we either pay for and or strive to create. And then we have the general media, which is just AI.
I mean, maybe.
So just a little bit down from the top on that page that's linked, they have all
You-
sorts of example videos.
Can you imagine we reach a point where you go, I just really want to watch an action movie starring this guy with the plot of this, and you
Yes.
just type it into a system, and it just makes you a movie right there. It's just like, here's your movie. It didn't exist before, but we got it now.
Nailed it.
Man.
First try.
And that's where the purists are going to come out and be like, I want to see a movie that actual actors are in, directed by actual people.
Well, we can put that into the prompt for the AI. Movie
I'll
with
sign it.
actual actors.
It's just crazy. Like the it looks good is the thing, and it's just completely fake. They did
My
highlight I don't see it on this page immediately, but they highlighted like it's not perfect.
Sure.
So there's like an example of like a pack of wolf cubs, and like in the video wolf cubs are seemingly spawning out of each other out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
That's just
My
what
fa-
wolf cubs do, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite part of that entire thing is
They
they're
just
like,
kind of
"Oh,
like mitosis split.
if you're like genuinely concerned that the content might be fake, don't worry. There's a moving watermark in the bottom right-hand corner of the video. That'll stop anybody from
Yeah.
believing this
Yeah,
is the
no one
real
will
thing.
abuse that. There's no way to remove a watermark.
Also, there's no real videos with watermarks in them, so it's fine.
Oh yeah. Why would that exist?
I'm excited to see the regulations that are going to be in place on like you can't fire people because you're using AI and just stuff like that. That's going to come out in the next decade or so.
Yeah.
It's going to completely modify the workplace. That's for sure.
This stuff is really scary. This is like, with how accurate a lot of this stuff works, with a little bit of effort, you could totally make things that are incriminating or propaganda or, all sorts of,
Yeah, but they'll have watermarks, so it's fine.
It's true.
man.
What's crazy is I remember just like not even a year ago, we were having a conversation about how they were there was a company who was taking movies and then converting them into localized language where they would redo the lip movement to match
Yeah.
what the person was saying. That was baffling at the time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And this is like leagues beyond that because they're just generating it from scratch rather than taking existing footage and remapping it. Crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean the lip syncing stuff seemed like cool and useful and not
Not
scary,
scary.
really.
It wasn't scary to you that they could use video to just make somebody look like they were saying something else?
I mean, now that you say that,
Still scary. Chad, what do you think this tool
Man, just all computers
Dora
are
would
scary.
generate if you put in I want to see a scene of the action movie star of the year.
Oh, great transition. Before we move on to that, I wanted to say when Sora came out, there was a post that I saw on Reddit, and I didn't really even think to save it. It showed Will Smith's AI footage. I don't know if I'll send it to the chat.
From like a year ago.
It's like a year ago. Will Smith eating spaghetti AI. And it's like what it showed and how awful it was and how terrifying it was. And now what we have today and just like the leaps that we've made already. And it's just insane. Crazy stuff. I'll post
The best part about this video is that it's the first comment is, this is the kind of stuff Chris Rock's nightmares are made of.
Here, for everybody who's watching, I'll post it in the Twitch chat. Oh, you did it. Never mind.
So, Chad,
thanks,
what do you
Chad.
think it would generate if you put in, I want to watch a scene of the action movie star of the year, circa 2023?
I believe that it would show, like, I don't know, Keanu Reeves, maybe even Tom Cruise. That's who I think it would show. Who the people voted for, and it baffles me, and I don't think that the people actually voted for this. So, tinfoil hat time. It's rigged. Rachel Zegler won Action Movie Star of the Year. In a year where there was John Wick.
Who's that?
And Tom Cruise. Okay, so that's the thing. Do you remember when the remake of Snow White was coming out? And there was there's a little bit of controversy on one of the lead actors, I don't know, putting her foot in her mouth maybe a little bit. Well, that's her. She's also in Hunger Games, whatever that new one that came out is.
The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Obviously, everyone's favorite.
Huge action film, by the way.
Yeah. Which yeah, exactly. I don't even know if that's really qualified as an action movie. And
the real problem is you've forgotten about her other big movie of 2023, which is Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which everybody loved universally.
She was in that too?
Yes.
I forgot they did that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie.
How many Shazam movies are there? Is that the second or third?
It's the second. It's the
Okay.
second one.
I can't. I'm bad. Like, Tom Cruise rode a motorcycle up a cliff and off it and parachuted and did his own stunts, landed in a train. Like, but nah, this chick who probably did maybe like tying her shoe won Action Movie of the Year.
Is it like they've won it before, so like let's give it to somebody new maybe? Sort of situation.
You know what? You're being too empathetic here.
Listen, Battle of Songbirds and Snakes is actually a pretty good movie, I think.
Okay, but
Really?
like, in that movie, right? If you're looking at that movie and you're watching it, and you're watching Rachel Zegler, which is the lead, right? Does she qualify when you're comparing it to Keanu falling down 34 flights of stairs?
Yeah. She doesn't really do a ton of action in that movie.
Well, it's because you
It's
haven't
also-
watched Shazam! Fury of the Gods. That's the problem.
It was people's choice, right? So, like,
Yeah, I mean,
Is
whatever.
it people's choice? Okay.
it's
To
people's
be fair,
choice.
have you met people?
Yeah, it's all coming together.
I mean, I guess I just need to know where to vote because, like, I need to change this. I need to be one of the votes to change this.
The other thing you could potentially vote on,
Oh boy!
which I think is really important now that we're moving into the film
Honestly,
section.
movie of the year.
Yeah, you could vote movie of the year, Madam Web, because I have heard universal. I think acclaim is the right word. That could be wrong. There could be another
It's definitely
word,
right.
but that feels right.
Mhm.
Universal
I've heard
something.
that movie is going to make $1 billion.
Mhm.
A wabillion. You're so dumb.
I like the part where she comes out and she says, "It's webbing time."
Oh my gosh.
So good.
Has anybody seen this movie?
No.
I have spoiled the crap out of myself for it. And
Have
there's
you?
like, yeah, I mean, I've watched all sorts of TikToks, YouTube videos, reviews, just different clips from it. There was a top 10 things with one lie. Like, this is like 10 things in this movie, and one of these is a lie. And it went through all 10 of them. And I'm like, I don't know which one's the lie. And they're like, guess what? None of them are the lie. I'm like, oh my God.
Man, my favorite one is, or my favorite review of this movie is, I need to apologize to Jared Leto and the writers and directors of Morbius.
They're the same directors and writers.
That's my favorite part too. Yes. So if you go back and you look at the things that the screenwriters have done in the past, which, oh boy, but you can really go down just a rabbit hole. Dracula Untold, which again, I mean, I really like Dracula Untold, but almost universally disliked. Gods of Egypt. You remember that movie with Gerard Butler? And
No.
oh shoot, what's
Yes.
the guy's name? You know what I'm talking about? Where they have
Yes.
yeah, that was a quality film right there. Of course, Morbius, The Last Witch Hunter. If you guys have ever seen that one, got a solid 18% with Vin Diesel and Elijah Wood. Yeah,
I was about to
those
say,
two.
is that the Vin Diesel movie? Yeah.
Those two people are in a movie together. Yes. None of us have seen it. That's okay. Also did Power Rangers. So, soft spot. I liked Power Rangers. I wouldn't say it's like top tier screenwriting, but still enjoyable. This movie, I'm hearing, is literally the opposite of that. Absolute bananas. Don't know how this gets made. Especially by Marvel, who, I mean, I guess maybe they recently have not been.
This
have
is
any slam
Sony,
dunks.
is it not?
Is it Sony?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Pretty
Sony.
sure it's
Yeah.
Sony.
That's
course
my
it's
favorite
Sony.
part of all of this, which is not even the people in the movie realized that they weren't in Marvel. Like they thought they were in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and like I think Dakota Johnson actually pulled, oh man, I'm forgetting her name, Wanda, whoever Wanda's actress is, pulled her aside and actually had a conversation with her. It's like, so what do I? It's like, you're in the universe. Like, how do you handle it? It's like you're not in. Sorry, Bit, you're not in the universe.
This isn't the MCU. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Man.
They also
Hilarious.
asked Dakota Johnson to name the Spider-Man movies in one interview, and she was like, "Oh, Spider-Man, the Spider, Spider-Man,
It's good.
the other one." Like, it's
very good.
hilarious. Really did
So
your
the-
homework there.
Matt Sazama is the screenwriter for this, or one of the screenwriters for this. Just want to give you just his IMDb numbers for the movies he's been in. He's written Dracula Untold 6.2, Last Witch Hunter 5.9, Gods of Egypt 5.4, Power Rangers 5.9. Okay, we'll take it. Morbius 5.2, followed by 2024's Madam Web at a solid 3.7.
Yeah, that's too bad. If it weren't for Power Rangers, he would have had a nice even decline
Yes,
as they went.
yes.
Power Rangers very slightly higher.
Man, it's so funny that Sony was like, yeah, our Morbius did so well. We should hire those guys again to do another superhero movie.
I mean,
They're
Sounds
he's
like
bread
a
and
great
butter.
idea.
He's got to have a breakout screenwriter eventually, right? And like Madam Web could have been it.
Yeah.
He
Like,
apparently did some screenwriting on Lost in Space. I don't know how much is in. There's multiple screenwriters in that series.
They must have such rock solid connections in the industry, like such good friends.
I guess.
They're like, come on, dude, just give me another. Give me another.
They got
movie.
it this time.
I swear, this time it'll be good.
Dude, Morbius did so good they put it back in theaters.
Yes.
Had a second run.
Just
When they put it back in
wild.
theaters, they must have been so excited. They're like, this is it. Finally, people are going to
Finally.
recognize our genius.
So going into a spoiler real quick, I think my all-time favorite part of this entire movie, when it comes to like the clips
This movie
I've
you haven't
seen,
seen. Okay.
the things that I know about, is the fact that Madam Web's mother was pregnant in Peru, and like her whole research team who's researching the spider gets murdered, and it never explains how Madam Web ends up in America.
What?
She just shows up as EMT in New York. Like, what?
Why not?
Yeah. Screenwriting. It's good.
Heck yeah,
Stuff
screenwriting,
right there.
baby.
I also heard during that scene when everybody gets killed, they're like, give me the spider. And she's like, no. Like, she'd rather protect the spider than her pregnancy or herself.
Or the idea that she's gonna say no and they're gonna oh sorry and not just kill her and
Yeah,
then take
here's
it.
a question. Don't you think there's other spiders around that they could collect if they're researching
no,
these
no,
spiders?
No. Just the one.
Man, what a struggle. Speaking of things, I actually don't know if this is a struggle or not, but I did want to bring this up. We're going to skip over one of these real quick. The Avatar: The Last Airbender live action show. Has anybody watched any of this? It came out, I think, yesterday.
I
Yeah, just
don't,
started.
I don't know if I'm going to watch this. First of all, I
It
think
looks so promising for so long.
they put out a promo where it's like the Rock Lord is fighting him fighting Aang, and like the way the fight goes, it just feels like turn-based. Like it's just it's
Sure.
so bad. And like you could have used any scene from the show that you're creating to like promote this movie or TV show, and like that's the one you went with. It's not good. It's not good at all. Also, I've always felt this way about Avatar live action. I understand they're kids, but they just look so awkward. Like every live action adaptation that I've seen, it's just like it's just so it's good in animation. You bring it to them being actual age of who they are as live action, and then how are you supposed to do the scar on Zuko and not make it look absolutely bizarre and weird and just like makeup? Like it's why can't they just leave this as an animation? Why does it have to be live action?
Because they could get more money.
That's what I dislike too. The problem with that is there are so many things that just belong in the animated world that when they try to bring it to live action, it's just like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it's like that time they tried to bring Dragon Ball Z to live action, and it was successful.
It was amazing. Yeah,
We
everyone
did.
loved
So
it.
good.
We did this live action once before. We did Avatar: The Last Airbender with M. Night Shyamalan. It's at 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. Why would we ever think bringing this back
Because
again?
it couldn't possibly be bad again.
Yeah, what are the chances?
Who's the
It's the
screenwriter?
Matt
know-
West thing, you know?
Who are the screenwriters?
Put him back in there.
They
It'll be
know
good this time.
the things they did wrong last time, and they're going
I
to
think
avoid
it's
those
just
this time.
honestly, I think it's just because they know that the series is popular enough that even if they make a terrible show, people will pay and watch it.
They'll watch it.
I guess, but like they like deliberately tried to get Korra canceled. You know what I mean? Like they moved it to a shittier time slot, gave it like a weird cadence. Like they clearly don't care that much about Avatar. That's just weird.
The show right now is currently sitting at a 63% for season 1,
Yeah, I
with
mean,
27
that's-
critic reviews and 78% audience score.
And that's not bad. You know what?
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
I mean, in comparison to M. Night
be
Shyamalan's
all right.
version, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Leagues
I'm
ahead.
always inclined to agree. Like when something's good in animation, that means it's like a good animated series. That doesn't mean you
Yes.
need to make it live action. Sometimes it's just already in the correct medium. Like you did it. Not everything can be Scott Pilgrim, where it's good in every medium. Every time they adapt it, it just
That
keeps
is
getting
true.
better and better.
I was gonna say that I think it exists in both both versions. Like you shouldn't really take animated things and try to bring them over into live action, and vice versa. But then things like Scott Pilgrim do
Sometimes-
exist.
Sometimes it happens,
Yeah.
but it's rare.
You
You
strike
know,
gold.
most of the time you get frickin' Ghost in the Shell. I think
The
that was a big
original-
flop, right?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. The original Atlas is at 100% and 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hmm.
Critic and user.
On the subject
100%.
of movies that maybe shouldn't be transitioned from their original medium. Has anybody here seen the new trailer for the Borderlands movie?
I did not watch the trailer.
I did, which actually we can talk about that now.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Ben?
I've mixed feelings. I mean, it's Borderlands, so obviously there's comedy, but they push hard into it. And, like, so here's the thing. I have trouble because a lot of comedy movies, I personally am not a huge fan of when they push too hard into comedy, like to the like almost like cheesy comedy level. Like, so I'm looking at this and I'm going, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this very much. But that doesn't mean it's bad. I just have preferences. But I don't know. It approaching like, listen, they had a scene where Claptrap is like pooping bullet shells in
Right.
the trailer, and I'm like, ugh.
I forgot
Really?
Claptrap would be in the movie.
Interestingly,
Hey,
voiced,
he's
voiced
Jack
by
Black.
Jack Black.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, good pick, I guess.
They've got some
Yeah,
good
that
actors
seems like it
in the
would work.
movie.
They
So,
do.
I don't know if this is just because Kevin Hart was in Jumanji a couple times, but
I don't
This-
understand why he's Roland.
this just looks like
Is
Jumanji
he?
Borderlands.
Yeah, he's Roland. It's
Kevin
a
Hart is
weird casting.
Roland. It's
That
so weird.
is like the worst casting
I
choice
like
ever
Kate, I like
heard.
Kate
What?
Blanchett as Lilith. I think that's actually a good
I watched
casting.
the trailer and then I had to look up who he was supposed to be because I did not realize he was Roland.
Yeah, Roland is like a big guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Are they? Do we know?
was
Are they
interested-
adapting like the first game, the second game?
I don't. It's not a. It sounds like the plot's not based on one of the video games.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Technically,
kinda.
from what I've read, the plot is the Lilith is the main character, and she's going back to her home planet, which I don't
Oh.
know if they're changing the canon or if they're saying her home planet is Pandora. I don't know, but going there to try to like rescue Atlas's daughter. So it's not based on one of the video games. Yeah, the characters in it are Lilith, Roland, Claptrap, Tiny Tina, and Krieg. Moxie's also in it, but I don't think she's one of the main characters, and so is Tannis. But it's
That's who Jamie Lee Curtis is playing. I was like, who is she supposed
Jamie Lee
to
Curtis
be?
is Tannis.
She's
yeah.
Tannis, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not optimistic. What did you think, Aaron?
I think they missed the mark, first of all, because they did not feature Ain't No Rest for the Wicked as the main song
That's
for the
true.
trailer.
They should have.
And honestly, those two things could not be more closely tied together. If you're going to feature any song,
It's gotta be that one.
it
Yeah.
has to be Cage the Elephant.
Fucking iconic.
It is.
I have already found people who have stripped out the song and just taken like the voice acting and put Cage the Elephant over the top of it. It actually fits better than the trailer. Hire these people. What are you doing? Stop using garbage music.
They really should have. You're right. I didn't even think of that.
Weird.
I will contradict that. I
I'm
have
listening.
seen the edits, and I believe because of how lyrically heavy that song is, it is actually kind of not good for the trailer.
You don't have
now
to have a lyrics version.
well,
You can just
show
do
me
the
a
instrumental.
non-lyric version then,
So
because
all
every
you
single
need
one
is
is a
that
lyric version.
slide guitar.
It's the yes. It's the
I
right,
I'll
even
agree
if you
with
just
that.
have that
But the
isolated.
edits that I
that's all
have
you need.
seen,
Mhm.
lyrics overpower anything in the trailer. So
Okay,
That's fair.
interesting. I
I don't know why they didn't just use Billie Eilish, because that's just a thing to do, you know.
I feel like
I
also
am-
Blanchett is like too old for the role.
Yeah, I was a little confused when I was watching. She looks like Lilith looks much older than she is in any of the games.
Yeah.
Like it is definitely like they have not put any effort into like make her like do makeup to make her look younger or anything like that.
Or the hair. I mean, the
I was
hair's
gonna
kind
say,
of
like,
bad.
Unless it takes place farther in the future, but then like other characters don't match age in that case.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I guess we'll see.
yeah.
I mean,
Fingers crossed for it
maybe.
to be good.
Yeah, I feel like something like this is kind of a crapshoot, whether or not it's going to be good.
Crapshoot, I feel like it's almost always bad. I mean, a video game
Yeah.
adaptation,
Every
we
now
have
and then
very
you get
few.
like the Dungeons and Dragons movie. That was a fun movie. I liked that movie.
True.
You know,
that
in
was
a
good.
world where Into the Spider-Verse exists, I don't understand why we're still making live action of anything that was video game first.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Like,
The
it just
animation
doesn't
work.
make sense to me. I don't know.
It seems like it seems easier and like it's gonna be more successful. Like, I
And
don't
then you
know.
put Kevin Hart in it. You're just why? It's like
Well, it
putting
does
Dwayne the Rock Johnson and everything.
Sorry, this does say it takes place on Pandora.
You know what? Dwayne the Rock Johnson would have been a better role than Kevin Hart.
You're
For
right.
Roland,
Like-
yeah.
I don't know. Such a weird pick.
That's a strange pick.
Especially given like his character in the games, like is just No comedy, just very straight,
He's boring.
like the whole
He's
time.
the straight man. Why would you cast
Yeah.
Kevin Hart?
Yeah, Kevin
I don't
Hart,
know.
the straight man.
Very weird.
I will say, writing credits, Eli Roth. He directed Inglourious Bastards. He's also one of the main actors in Inglourious Bastards. So, could be good.
They did
If
say
we
at
get-
the end of the trailer. Who did they? Sorry, they throw up a scene where they're like, "This is who movies we've worked on before." I think they did Uncharted.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's-
wow. That is... nope.
Oh, did you hate that movie?
That was bad.
I thought it was fine.
Cheesy.
I enjoyed watching it, but I came out of it going, "That was a solid generic action movie."
Wow, I did not...
Yeah.
I
did not
was
think
like,
that
I
highly
feel
about
like
it.
I watched just like if somebody took Indiana Jones and made it a bit more boring.
That's
what
Uncharted.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
true.
I got. Fair. Okay.
100%. So good. Good job, guys.
Nailed it. First try.
Man, the song I associate with Borderlands, I've been trying to find it. It's Doomsday by Nero. It's back
Oh.
in the height of dubstep when Borderlands 2 got it announced.
Oh.
What is that
Watch
song?
this trailer.
Do you think? I bet they don't resist the urge to put Handsome Jack in. I feel like he's the only compelling villain Borderlands has. I feel like he's got to be.
Yeah. I don't know who they cast as that.
I mean, luckily, any generic white boy works.
I guess that's
Yeah.
true. Pick anybody for that. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I really, anytime there's a film that's made adapted from a video game series, I just always return to Michael Fassbender's Assassin's Creed. That is the
goat.
game in my mind that I go back to. I cannot escape it.
That was
That's
a
what
good
I think
movie.
of. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think of
All right.
Doom.
Oh man, don't even. That is what a shame of a
With
film.
The Rock.
Yes,
Yeah.
2003.
Yeah, exactly. The Rock. Put him in it. You know.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like the first like? Oh, this is so cool. It's the first person
They
movie,
did first
Oh,
person in
yeah,
that
yeah.
movie.
and they did it for like all of 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What a movie.
It's no Hardcore Henry, that's for sure.
Yeah.
True.
I wonder what the Doom movie has on. Oh yeah, 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. There you go.
Hey.
Carl Urban's best film. Anyway, we should talk about the last thing in film world, which is, Alex, did you actually go watch this movie?
Yeah, it's like out streaming.
Oh, it's out streaming.
Yeah.
Tell
yeah.
us about Mean Girls.
Mean
What?
Girls, which is the 2024 remake of the original movie, but it's a musical this time.
Which, of course, is like right up your alley. RE,
It is.
High School Musical, the musical, the series. I feel like
You
this
would-
is like almost that same vein.
You would assume this would be the perfect film for me. Is
Yeah,
what
to be
you would
fair, High
assume.
School Musical is a masterpiece, so I don't
Thank
know
you,
why
Ben.
you sound
oh
so
my
sarcastic,
gosh, I'm
Aaron.
so glad we got
Ben,
Ben on
that's
this
your second
podcast now.
strike. That's your second strike.
Man, I got a High School Musical apologist with me. Heck yeah.
Why did I
Good to
bring
be
it
here.
up?
So yeah, it's all that checks all the boxes of what I would want for like an ideal movie that I could just throw on whenever, and it would be the best like background movie of all time. But I don't know. I liked it, but it's probably like a 7, maybe a 6.5. I have a lot of issues with it. One, I think there's only a few songs that are actually like really good. A lot of the songs are kind of like whatever.
So it's no Has Been Hotel.
Yeah,
Got it.
I've
Check,
seen
check.
most of Has Been Hotel now, so I can say that.
Wow,
I
you're
also
only
think-
like, what, 2 podcasts too late on that one?
I know. I have
pretty
2
good.
more episodes in that show. I think those songs are most of them are good, I would say.
But anyway, Mean Girls.
Mean Girls. Renee Rapp is the big thing to talk about in this movie. She is really, really good in it, and she sings awesome. Her voice is amazing. A lot of the other, like the actress that plays Katie, like the main girl, Lindsay Lohan in the original movie, does not have that great a singing voice, and does not emote particularly well. Like there are clips that you can find of like her version of the song versus the Broadway version, and her version's like da 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 da, and then the Broadway version's like da 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 da, and it's like what?
Wow.
How is it
Now we
this
don't
different?
even need to watch it.
I don't understand like what they were thinking casting her. I don't know. She just does not seem to fit the role. And then even besides the music, I have major issues with like how this movie works as a movie now, because it is identical to the first movie. They literally do the same storyline again on purpose. They're just trying to remake it as a musical. To the point where they like straight lift lines of dialogue and stuff like that from the original movie. All the characters are the same names, same archetypes, all that kind of stuff.
That's wild.
But they replace a lot of what would be character building moments in the movie with songs, and then the songs don't really do a good job to build the characters, I think. So you're just left with like, here are the primary story beats of Mean Girls that you remember, and there are songs in between. And everything just kind of happens really fast. And like, you know,
who needs the story building though? Because who's watching this without watching the first one?
I thought about that after. I was like,
It does
well, maybe
seem
it doesn't
kinda like
matter
that's the
because like the target audience is somebody that's already seen those characters before, so
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't matter as much. But I don't know.
I would argue though, so we're not here for the storytelling, and the songs aren't good.
There are a few songs that are really good, but like besides that, I wasn't blown away. And then on top of that, there's like, I have like nitpicky things with the movie. Like the Mean Girls are not particularly mean in this one. It really feels like they have like
It's 2024, Aaron.
They've like sanded off a lot of like edge. There's like lines of dialogue that are lifted from the original movie exactly, except for they've like toned down some of the insult that was in the original dialogue. And it's like, why? I don't know. Is that necessary? And then they made so like Janice is the girl that's originally Katie's friend, like when she first gets there, and she's like mad at the plastics, if you remember.
We know Mean Girls, yes.
Yeah. I'm just trying to like, you know, if you haven't seen the movie in a while, to give you the reference to make you remember what I'm talking about. But a big part of the original movie is like, she's actually a mean girl also. Like that's like the realization that you should come to. Like she's terrible, just as terrible as any of the plastics, but in a different way. And she arrived there through different like trauma that she accumulated over time. And in this movie, they just kind of make her like good. Like she doesn't ever do anything particularly bad. Like she's kind of just like the good guy that sits in the background. And I don't know. I think that takes a lot away from the character and like the development. And I don't know. I just had a lot of issues with the movie. As a big Mean Girls fan, coming to it with like, I don't know if you're going to be able to do Mean Girls right, because I really like that first movie. It was a bit odd.
So you still thought that 6 or 7? That's it.
It's still
There's
like
a lot of complaints for a 7.
Yeah, I don't think I heard any nice things.
It's
That's
still
okay.
entertaining on the whole, and like if you know the original story, there's like a lot of callbacks and like, oh yeah, that's like cool nostalgia for me. So like you'd probably have a good time if you've seen the original and are a fan of it.
It's a 6 or a 7, heavily riding on nostalgia.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Speaking of nostalgia.
Yeah, I saw you just wrote in High School Musical here.
We mentioned High School Musical, and it reminded me of a clip that I saw recently, and I find this to be hilarious. Zac Efron is at the Graham Norton show. This is probably like 4 years old at this point. And he's talking about watching his first dubbed over content. So basically, like, he's the actor, obviously, in High School Musical, but then he, for the first time ever, sees the Spanish version of it. And he says that, like, in the interview, he goes through basically explaining all the casts being introduced, and, you know, that's kind of how the movie flow works. And you're seeing everybody, and they're all talking, and they all have these, like, nice voices, and, you know, the men are getting like manly voices, and the girls are getting their nice girl voices. And then it comes to Zac Efron, and he speaks for the first time, and it's like, "Como te amo." He's like, I can't believe how high pitched it was. So yeah,
no.
if you ever want to have a chuckle, maybe go watch High School Musical in Spanish dubbed.
Man, that reminds me. Has Been Hotel. We talked about how Stephanie Beatriz from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Mm-hmm.
She's the voice of one of the characters in there, and she has that same voice.
You don't remember
from,
that character's
Brooklyn
name?
Nine-Nine.
Really?
Vaggie.
There you go.
Apparently, that's not her real voice.
What do you mean that's not her real voice?
That's not how she speaks. She has a much higher pitched voice, and she pitches it down for those characters.
Oh right, I've seen that before.
For Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah, she's got a way almost like she talks and you're like, do you sing K-pop? That's what you sound like.
It's
little.
like squeaky high.
You're like an anime girl.
It's crazy.
Weird.
I only figured this out because the first song that she sings in that show is like way higher registered than I would expect, and I was like, did they just get a different person to sing her part? No, she sings it.
In Brooklyn Nine-Nine, there's actually, I think there's 2 scenes where her character like jokingly talks like a quote, like a stereotypical girl with like a really high pitched voice. Like she puts it's just her normal voice. She just talks like normal for like one scene.
Funny.
Yeah, I also didn't know she was the lead in Encanto until I was looking into this, so that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, she's done a lot of voice acting.
Good Has Been Hotel plug though. That's a good series right there.
That's good. We haven't talked about it in several minutes, so I look forward to the rest of the cast.
Very, very good series.
We'll just squeeze those references in.
Let's move on to a couple things in video game world because I think they're important to talk about. First and foremost, Sony, who we've already brought up on this podcast, has noted, I think the quote is something like, the final phase of its life cycle for the PS5. A console that has had...
Do we even know if Sony said that, or are people saying that just because they said that... Sony said that they're not going to make any more IPs or exclusives for PS5's 2025 or something like that.
Yeah, I thought...
This is two separate things, I think.
Okay, it's 2 separate lines. Because I know on like an earnings call they said that there were not going to be any first party entries to existing franchises this year. Which, like, yeah, I genuinely don't even know what it would have been. Spider-Man just came out, and Ragnarok came out like the year before.
Yeah.
So there's that. That was said. And then there's also this thing, somebody at Sony had said that...
It's the senior VP.
Yeah, it's entering the latter part of its life cycle or something like that.
Yeah, he said, I found the quote, he said, looking ahead, PS5 will enter the latter stage of its life cycle. As such, we will put more emphasis on the balance between profitability and sales. For this reason, we expect the annual sales pace of PS5 hardware will start falling from the next fiscal year.
Man, I equated that to people spreading rumors and just creating FUD because of the former thing that we talked about, which is the no exclusives.
No, but to be fair, I think his statement doesn't really mean anything. Like, it's been out, it came out in 2020, so this is over 3 years.
Well, I mean,
into the life cycle.
Late 2020, right?
Yeah,
it was like almost like a December release. Yeah, okay.
So we're over the 3 year mark.
But we also had 2 years of COVID in there where you couldn't not even buy a PS5, let alone find one on a shelf.
It was hard to buy them. Yeah, well, that's the other thing is like they said something about disappointing sales numbers, and it's like, guys, we couldn't even buy the PlayStation like for a long time. Like, what are you talking about?
Produce it and we'll buy it, maybe. Just
going off numbers, like the life cycle from PS1 to PS2 is like 5 years, and then 2 to 3 was 5 years, and then it's gone up over time. So like 3 to 4 was 6 years, 4 to 5 was 7, I believe, if I remember correctly. So like, if we've gone 3 years already, and they're saying it's like the latter half or whatever they say, did they say latter part or latter half? I don't know. That could just mean past the middle part is what it could mean.
Yeah.
So if they're on a 6 year cycle for this one because they want to bring it back in from
latter
7
stage,
sure. I could read that as it is past the halfway mark, and we will be doing, gearing up in another 3 years or so to put out a PS6. but also very, very strong and credible rumors that PS5 Pro will be out this year. So
I was about to say a PS5, a refresh is probably coming soon. I mean, Xbox has leaked ages ago what they were planning for there, so I bet Sony's, if they weren't already in there, I'm sure they rushed to get something together. If they were falling behind.
Xbox
there was
and
actually
Sony, or Microsoft and Sony haven't always released their consoles in parity, have they?
I mean,
except for like 360 came out a year before PlayStation 3, I think.
Well, and there was no real comparison between. I mean, there was like a no PS2 equivalent, right?
No,
for the Xbox, because Xbox came out long
Xbox came out
like partway through the PS2's life cycle,
and they cut it short and did 360, and that's how they basically got
the edge that generation. Yeah,
got it.
I was chatting with Caitlin about this, and I'm not an owner of a PS5, and I honestly never really looked into Sony titles for the longest time because I just never had access to playing them. But what exactly did the PS5 bring to the table when it came to games? Because that's a conversation that a lot of people are angry about, where they're essentially saying like PlayStation 1 has more games than the PlayStation 5 or 4 or whatever, and is it even worth buying the PlayStation 5 and it's coming to a close? And some people are like, I have a PS4 and I don't even feel the need to upgrade to the PS5.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like actual exclusives, because a lot of games came out for the 5 that were also available on the 4.
Sure.
But you've got, right, like Spider-Man 2, the Dark Souls remake.
Okay.
I'm already running out of Steam. Someone help me. Because a lot of the other
did
ones,
God of
like
War come out on
Ragnarok
PS4 as well?
I'm pretty sure Ragnarok was on both.
Yeah. So this was my uneducated guess towards their issue with not selling PS5s. They kept the last generation within their development cycle. So like you had a PS3 and games were coming out for PS4. They didn't stick with the PS3 as games coming out. They moved on to the PS4 and they said, hey, if you want to play new games, buy a PS4. So I don't know what it is in today's development cycle for like the Xbox and the PlayStation, but they're always looking towards older generation consoles. And this brings on a new topic, which we don't have to talk about on this podcast, which is PC players being held back by limitations of generations that were, they're still supplying for.
I mean, even like Ragnarok, I think is a really good example. I think if they had just developed it purely for PS5, that game would have been even more impressive than it already was. It was already a really impressive game, but if they didn't, if they weren't shackled to the PS4, I think they really could have pushed the tech.
I just linked in Mumble, in case you're curious, of the Wikipedia page for
Oh
PlayStation 5 only games, and it's very tiny.
Yeah, why even buy a PS5 at that point? So of course
technically, Spider-Man 2 apparently was not released on the PS4.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like of ones I
Run's not
recognize
even out
here, the Demon Souls remake.
I mean, you buy a PS5 because there's a Strandlight game coming out. Period. End of story.
On the
That's
Stranding
questionable
2.
reason to buy one.
Which is, didn't that like just get announced? The second one.
Yeah. Well, we got a date for it finally.
This doesn't have Ratchet and Clank.
It's because it's on PC now.
Oh.
They're
Is
eliminating
it?
that even.
Okay, well that's confusing. But okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Like the first Final Fantasy's not on there either, just Rebirth.
Oh, I guess that was PlayStation exclusive for a while. Also, isn't
That might have been 4 though, actually. Now that I think about it.
Horizon One Dawn? I guess that might also be on
I think that was
PC by now.
cross-generational as well. I mean, I bought a PS5 for Ragnarok, even though it was coming out on PS4, which I already owned, because I wanted to be able to play it in the best possible way I could play it. So, and with the PS5/Xbox Series X generation, they definitely put a focus on not leaving behind the install base that they have like huge numbers in. Like that's the reason why Xbox came out with the Series S because it's like essentially as powerful as their previous generation stuff, but you can get it for cheap. And then if you want like the high frame rate version of stuff, you get the big boy.
Do you think development times have anything to do with it also? Like, if they've been working on
That
Ragnarok
could certainly be a thing.
for
yeah.
ages and they've
True.
been working just on PS4 hardware, and then it's like, oh, hey, the PS5's coming out. You should make it for
AAA.
that too. And it's like, well,
AAA development cycles have gotten way longer.
yeah,
Right, yeah.
ridiculous.
There's a lot to them anymore.
Mm.
Well, some, not all.
I mean, there's that quadruple A game that just came out.
That's
so-
true.
Yeah. Well, we can't. Whoa. Hey, that's not a AAA. That's in a league of its own. Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Wonder how long that game took.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. That's true. We probably should talk real quick about this also, since we're on the Sony topic. Some party Xbox titles going multi-platinum.
Yeah. So this is getting everybody razzled for a while. There was a bunch of rumors. Then Microsoft came out and said, "We're going to address this soon. Don't worry."
I
And
said
then they
platinum
came
on that
out
platform.
Also,
They
I'm
came out
sorry,
and
what is it
said-
doing to everyone?
razzled.
It's
Razzled.
razzling them. Oh my god, they're razzled.
Yeah. Because Microsoft is essentially becoming a multi-platform publisher at this point. They're putting at the start 4 titles out on PS5 and Switch: Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Grounded, and Sea of Thieves.
I mean, kind of whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, technically, they've already been multi-platform, right, for a bit, because everything they've released on Xbox was getting released on PC.
That doesn't
Yeah.
count.
Listen,
Ben. PC
no,
doesn't count
that's
ever.
Xbox
Oh,
Play
It's not a platform.
anywhere. Okay, that's Microsoft-based software still.
PC just silently exists in the
Excuse me.
background, benefiting
Okay,
from everybody.
It doesn't exist
forgot
in the
no one
background.
uses
It's like
PC gaming.
hovering over all of the other consoles while they're down there playing, like kids playing in a sandbox.
This is kind of unprecedented, though, to have first-party IP show up on competing platforms.
Yeah.
It just tells us more that Xbox doesn't care about their hardware, really.
I don't know, though.
And-
It's not like they're not bringing over Halo or even Starfield.
Yeah. I mean,
You
they're
know?
testing the waters, I think, but Starfield was a big one of the rumors of, like, they're probably going to announce Starfield on PS5 at some point.
But they didn't. I
They
mean, I
didn't,
think it's
not
also
yet.
telling that 2 of the games are multiplayer, live servicey kind of games. I think Grounded is live servicey, right? Maybe I'm
It's
wrong
like a
about that
survival
one.
crafter. It could be in that vein.
But, you know, a multiplayer game obviously is really going to benefit from having a broader player base.
Yeah.
And then
It
the
is
other 2
survival
are,
action.
you know, the other 2 are Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush. I don't know why Pentiment is... Maybe Pentiment was more popular than I'm giving it credit for.
Probably not.
Yeah,
But it's something that they can put on other platforms and be like,
yeah, and then
see,
Hi-Fi...
we're
Yeah,
cool.
Hi-Fi Rush is another one that's like really cool. I love that game, but it's not, I don't see it driving a lot of hardware sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. It just is another signal to me that they just want to be a services company, and
Yeah.
they want everybody to be on Game Pass, and that's it.
Do you
They'll just-
see
they'll
a
just own
Pass?
everybody.
Do you see a problem with that, honestly?
It will eventually be a problem in like a decade or 2.
Right. When they gobble up, they become the cocks of
Excuse me.
Excuse me?
Yeah, what?
This is a family
DOX
podcast,
cocks.
Aaron.
Did you not pause there? Like,
Yeah, what?
After
No,
I said it, I was like,
also,
I
you
could have
you,
chosen
like
any other company's
hard seed
Comcast.
that.
It's like
Fox.
Yeah.
it's like how Netflix came out and they had all the content and they were like, look at this low price to get all this stuff, and you're like, man, this is excellent. We should just put everything on here. It'll be great and nothing ever bad will happen. And then slowly over time,
Bad happened.
they lost things and the price has gone up. And I mean, that's eventually what has to happen with Game Pass is they'll just slowly over time increase the price. It'll be cemented in everybody's mind as like a necessary service. Like if you play video games, you just have Game Pass. That is like a thing that you do. And they'll really raise it by like $1 every year, every other year or something. And then eventually you'll be paying like, you know, instead of $10 a month, you'll be paying $25 a month.
Yeah.
Or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, the
My Netflix subscription is like $24 a month right now, and I don't know
It's
why I'm still
expensive.
paying for it.
It's expensive.
the consumption of Blizzard and potential of it being on the Game Pass is already like the step in that direction. No idea if World of Warcraft subscription will be under that, or if you're gonna have to pay for 2 subscriptions at that point. But I've heard like Diablo and stuff like that's coming to the Game Pass. So
They announced
Yeah.
Diablo 4. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I thought they announced Diablo.
We talk about this a lot with streaming services too. I think like the whole when somebody starts, they're small and then they start gobbling up other components. And then we get this one platform that's doing it, but then everybody else wants to do their own streaming service, right? So all these other services launch. And then we get into the situation where pirating goes up in popularity because nobody wants to spend $15 here, $20 here, $5 here, whatever. I mean, do you see that also happening in this where we have, Xbox
No.
Game Pass eventually gobbling up other game service things?
So
I
it's
don't know
different from the streaming wars in that Microsoft owns everything they put on Game Pass, so it can't be
for now, right?
taken away. I mean, for now, sure. If they start licensing other publisher stuff to put on it, then I could see it being like, oh, we licensed, all the PlayStation exclusives to be in Game Pass, and then PlayStation's like, oh, well, we have Game Pass Sony edition now.
They don't own everything
then-
that's on Game Pass, right? Like,
Do they?
all the Yakuza games are on Game Pass. That's not a
Oh,
Microsoft
I guess you're right.
thing.
Is it just like they just get stuff licensed already?
Yeah, like stuff comes and goes off Game Pass all the time. Persona's on
That is
Game
true.
Pass. They definitely don't own Persona.
That is true. I take everything I just said back.
Get out of here.
So
Cut it from the cast.
So I prompt the question again. Do you think
Yeah,
that
so
could be a problem with
That
this
could be
service?
a major problem.
I
I think
it's a little different. I mean, I guess speaking as someone who plays a lot on PC, there is no Steam of movies. There's not like a place I can go and be like, hey, I want to watch this movie. And it's like, okay, boom. If you want it, it's really convenient. It's right here for a reasonable price. Whereas with video games, it's like, oh man, Game Pass is out of control. I'm just going to buy that one game I wanted to play. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's a little different. There's not like a one-stop shop for movies anymore.
Well, it also, like, when you think about the investment, right? If you're watching a movie, it's like, okay, I mean, I guess anymore, it's like 2.5 hour commitment. But for a game, like even small scale indie games, you're still going to spend like 6-8 hours playing one of those games. And it's not like you can get your money's worth out of $12, $15 a month when you could just buy a couple games. Granted, I also understand they're more expensive, but you're
I
also
think,
getting more time for the money you're spending on those individual games, especially if you buy
unless
things
it's the
like
COD campaign.
Elden
Hey.
Ring.
Got him.
We're like so used to not owning movies and TV shows at this point.
But
Yeah.
I
Isn't that
feel
weird?
like
We
the
also
tide
gotta
is
get
even
used
turning
to.
there, you know?
We also
You
got to
can-
get used to not owning our video games and also having them taken away from us at any given moment.
Oh, of course.
Ubisoft.
I mean, just going off of what Jake said is like, if I feel like Netflix is too expensive, I could just go buy whatever movie on like Amazon. You can go rent like pretty much anything on Amazon for like a few dollars,
Except for
but nobody ever
exclusives.
does anything.
I know
Yeah,
what,
except for
Netflix
exclusives.
is like $20-something right now for a month.
If you get the
And
4K
then-
package, which I mean, who doesn't have a 4K TV at
Yeah.
this point?
Right.
renting a movie from Amazon is like $4 a movie, I think.
Yeah. So
And
then you go look at the Game Pass and when it's like 15 a month.
like iTunes is still big into that too. Like if you're in the Apple ecosystem, people buy
Mhm.
stuff from there all the time.
That's
I
also
think
hard because
it's
they have a
kinda-
different audio format from other people. I know I've talked to
Mhm.
several people who are like, honestly, I'd be interested in switching to Android, but I have so many like purchased like songs
Sure,
in the
yeah.
iTunes store that, and they just don't know how to, transfer them over.
Right, because that's ownership. But if it was just like a streaming service, like if they were Spotify users and they're going to
Oh, yeah.
swap over to Apple Music or whatever,
All of
like
their-
that's not a
yeah.
big deal. It's just
No.
about what's on the service at that time.
Mhm.
The only reason I bring this up is I think it's just interesting because I feel like maybe we're starting to see some of that, like the beginnings of just a service industry for video games where you're paying a subscription every month, maybe to, I mean, maybe in the future Sony starts something like this where it's just like all of the Sony exclusives you just get if you're paying X amount per month. I don't know. In streaming world, obviously we have the streaming wars currently going on as they have been for quite some time. But the most recent development in that world is kind of tied into live TV and sports, where all of the major companies that do sports, like the Fox, Warner Brothers, Discovery, they are all now packaging a product in 2024 that does essentially all live sports. It has all Major League Baseball, all NFL, all basketball, hockey, everything on one app that you're now going to be paying like $45 a month to watch literally whatever sport you want. And I think, and that is taking from the like all of these different services like Paramount Plus. You got Amazon Prime, who streams NFL on Thursdays. All of that stuff is getting repackaged, licensed into a new product that essentially to me is like a big cable provider, right? They're selling all of these licensed things in a larger package at a more premium rate for you to be able to watch literally anything you want at any time in that segment. That starts this year.
And streaming movies and TV is crazy convoluted. If you think about the same thing, like when it comes to music, you don't have to really worry about it. It's weird. Like whatever service you pick is basically going to have all the stuff.
All of it. Right.
Mhm.
I don't know if maybe it's my naivety or just the way my viewpoint on the medias, but I would rather buy a game and hate it and waste that money or get a refund for it on Steam and stuff like that and rent a movie and hate it. Because like at least I'm engaging in the activity of the video game or whatever. I don't feel like I'm engaging. And like when I don't like a show or don't like a movie, it's like tenfold worse than if I don't like a video game that I'm playing. And that's just me though. I don't know. So
Well, you also
when it comes,
have 2 hours or 2 weeks, whichever comes first, to refund that video game
that's
versus
that's what I'm saying.
renting
I
a
don't know how
movie.
the refunds work with movies
don't
and
think-
stuff like that.
I don't think you can.
Yeah,
I don't think if you're in a movie on Amazon Prime, I don't think it's like you watch 10 minutes, you don't like this, yeah, refund it. As far as I'm aware, that doesn't exist. Maybe it does.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure once you rent it, you have like 48 hours or whatever.
Like
Just
also
to watch it.
Yeah.
just looking at my Steam library and just looking at the time, like the hours played, like you can't really get that unless you watch the movie back to back to back to back to back, which is kind of like you get burnt out after a while.
Yeah.
You can't get the hours like Dota 2 2600, PUBG 1200, Destiny 984. Like you can get those values out of the video games that you buy that I don't think you can get for TV shows and movies.
For sure.
So
When I rent the Doom movie from Amazon for 48 hours, I watch it on repeat for those 48 hours so I get my money's worth.
Smart.
Did you actually rent the Dune movie?
No.
I think I would say I'd say I generally agree, but I do think there are outliers. People who like watch The Office like it's, I don't know, they're just pastime, or Friends. Like there are just things that people will just have on repeat forever. Those types of things, I could see them maybe buying that content, but then it's also like I have to go relocate where it's at. It's way more convenient to be like, where's this currently streaming at? And then just go watch it wherever it's currently available. Versus,
Right.
and I know that's a completely different thing because obviously all our games are like mostly hosted in a central repository, re Steam, or if we have a console, it's on a console, so it's there, it's available. It's not like you have to go find it somewhere, unless you have 4 hard drives with 4 different Steam directories and can't figure out which one game's installed on. That can be a problem.
Even PC games in recent times have gotten weird with like Epic exclusives and Ubisoft exclusives and EA exclusives, and it's like, I used to just be able to do everything on Steam, and now I have to
And it's true.
venture out to other platforms.
It still feels like that's the start of it, though, because you're still buying that content and you still own it, right?
Mhm.
Because you don't have to have that. Well, that's not even true anymore. A lot of those
the
things you
launcher.
have to be online.
It's not like you pay
in
for
order to
Steam and
play
you pay
them.
for Epic
Right.
to
Yeah.
access them. You just buy the game itself.
But
It's
Microsoft
just
is the inverse
storefronts.
of that. They're the ones who are doing you just pay for this service and we don't care what you play. Play any of
Yeah.
these games that are on Game Pass.
Yeah, I think the 2 points I was trying to make with that comment that I was making was, one, when it comes to streaming, like I don't want to have to pay for like 5 different services because, like I said, if I don't like the shows that I'm pinpointing for that service, then I'm not gonna want to pay for that service. Well, video games it's always been you buy the game for full price pretty much, and it's only recently been becoming like Game Pass style, Humble Bundle style. So if they go full on that direction, and then you're like, oh, I can't find this game, guess I'll have to buy it. Like, I don't think people will be that upset about that, comparatively to what's happening in the streaming avenue, where it's just like everything's being splintered, and you have to buy like Disney for the Marvel stuff, and like Netflix originals, Netflix, and then there's Amazon Prime coming out with stuff, and then there's Hulu and other things like that. So
and it just depends on how everything develops, because like we used to just buy DVDs or rent stuff at Blockbuster, and then over time streaming rose up, and then you had 5 streaming services you were paying for, and you're not going to go buy a Blu-ray if you're paying for 5 different streaming services. And so if like the same thing happens where like, all right, I'm paying for Game Pass at first, but then it's like, oh, these games are splintered across a bunch of different services now, and then I end up paying for 5 different, Ubisoft, EA, PlayStation, Microsoft, and then all of a sudden something comes out that I'm like, ugh, well, I gotta buy that separate for $60. I'm already paying $200 a month for all these services.
I feel like I already said my piece on that with just saying that, like, the video games last longer, and we're already paying that $60 price tag across the board. So if they start going down to splintering, unless they really reserve it to where it's like you have to get Game Pass to ever play this, then I don't think it'll be an issue for people. I don't think people are really going to care about it.
Yeah.
I could do that. That's kind of how Netflix works, right? Like the Netflix has exclusives. You have to have
like
Netflix
you have
to
to get Netflix, or else you can't watch this. And so it's like you have to get Game Pass, or else you cannot play Halo anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
That will be a sad day when that happens. I'm
That's
almost
where it
certain
will
that'll
be
happen.
upsetting. Not where it is now, where it's like if they start doing subscription based for like all different.
For a while, it'll probably be really sick until it gets to like the bad stage.
Like all
I'm like,
service.
sorry, go ahead.
No, just go ahead. You're good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm kind of optimistic. Like, Netflix was great for a while when it was the only game in town.
Yeah.
So, like, kind of if Game Pass gets to just be the gaming subscription,
Yeah.
maybe, I mean, that works good for consumers. Like, I know that sounds like a monopoly, but...
I would say, yeah, Monopoly is great for consumers.
I mean, it's not a monopoly, though. You can just go buy the games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right, though. If the game is exclusively on Game Pass, you cannot even buy a physical copy. You go to a GameStop, can't buy a physical copy. You can't buy a copy from Steam. You can't download a copy directly from the game developer's website. None of that. If it's just available on Game Pass,
I mean,
I could see that being a problem.
I had a dilemma this month with Ubisoft because they put out Prince of Persia. Everybody's saying it's great. It's a $50 game. I'm like, do I want to spend $50 on this game? And then on their pages, they're always advertising like, oh, or you could get Ubisoft Plus for $18 a month.
You did not.
No, I didn't. But
Good.
it was like, oh, I could just pay $18 instead of $50, and then I'll just play it this month, right? And then I'll just cancel it. But like,
I feel like that's a benefit, actually.
Right? But then that's how they get you. And then at one point, it's like, all right, well, I guess I'm just not canceling Ubisoft Plus at this point because such and such is coming out now, or whatever. And then now I'm on multiple services.
You should also note, though, that there are platforms where there's like different tiers of those services. Like EA has EA Play, right? So if you buy into EA Play, which is like $5.99 a month, you know what you don't get? You don't get release date launches for big titles. Jedi Survivor couldn't play that on launch day with EA Play. But if you get EA Play Plus, which is like $15.99 a month, you get it on launch day.
Yeah. It's the same with Ubisoft, actually, because they had like their regular tier that you couldn't play Prince of Persia on that was like $8 a month.
Yeah.
Well, and then there's what Suicide Squad did, where you pay extra and then you still don't get to play it early. You have to wait a few days.
That's true. You gotta wait.
But that's kind of its own thing, right?
Own thing. Last two things we should talk about in video game realm. First of all, big news. We're all excited. Shadow of the Erd Tree trailer has dropped. Jake,
I'm
you
so
pumped?
excited. Yes, this literally made my day. As soon as I saw that the trailer was dropping, it has a release date. It's coming out this year. I wasn't sure if it would.
I saw
We've heard
you.
so little about it.
We saw you launch Elden Ring earlier
Yes!
in the week.
Yeah.
I have like a bunch of characters that I want to try out. I want to like decide on a build for the DLC. So I'm really excited. I'm gonna dive back into Elden Ring, start playing. The trailer looks awesome. It's allegedly the biggest DLC they've made, which
Yeah,
is
I would assume so based on the price tag.
yeah, it's $40.
Yeah.
That,
So it's
already, like, Elden Ring was already exhausting to try to get through. It's so much content.
Awesome.
And so I could just imagine just some more of that. It's just like,
Looks
Yeah,
like it's a whole new area.
I'm honestly
Or a couple
expecting it to be
areas.
like the size of a regular video game.
it's
Like,
probably
at
just gonna
least.
be a Dark Souls. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like actually though. No, it's gonna be, man, I don't know if you guys have played much FromSoft DLC, but it tends to be like the best content of any game it's in. Like, the Bloodborne DLC is absolutely incredible. The Dark Souls 1 DLC is probably the best content there. I don't really like Dark Souls 2, but everyone says the DLC is really, really incredible. So hopefully that pattern kind of holds.
like
This-
unfortunately, I just lose interest in that game when they come out with the DLC. Like, I just never pick it back up again. So
Mm.
I'm hopeful that I have spaced out Elden Ring play enough that maybe like I'm still kind of hooked in a little bit to where when this drops, maybe I'll play through it.
That always blows my mind for as like intense as you get about playing a game when it comes out, and like you just freaking sink hours, if not days, into
Yeah,
a
but when
game
it-
grinding levels.
When he's done
Yeah.
with it, he's done with it. Though.
When I'm done with it, it's over, dude.
Oh man,
He has one game he plays at a time, and that's it.
it's so funny. I was gonna say this DLC from FromSoft is more than double the cost of any previous DLC they've ever made, and that
Wow.
includes Bloodborne's DLC, which was pretty big.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't... Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. I feel like it's different a little bit, because this is so... I imagine it's got to be open world again, right? Like Elden Ring was.
Yeah.
So just kind of by
expensive.
definition, it needs to be a lot bigger.
Grandiose.
And based
Yeah.
on the size of Elden Ring... Oh man, it's almost scary to think of how big it's gonna be.
Are they
I
just?
mean,
Do you think they're just adding more to Elden Ring's map? So it's
Oh, I'm
already
sure.
massive.
I think it's
going
gonna be a separate zone that you get like
Yeah, it's-
teleported to. It's gonna be a new map, I bet.
I'm so pumped.
I can't
Oh,
imagine
yeah,
it's the
same.
same size as Elden Ring. It'll be smaller than Elden Ring.
Man, here's the
If
thing.
it's
If you
the-
told me the size of Elden Ring before Elden Ring came out, I would have called you a goddamn liar. Like, there's no way. I don't know.
Man. By the way, that comes out June, right?
I believe
said?
that's
21st.
Wait,
June 21st.
my father-in-law just beat Elden Ring, so like now he's just gotta go back into the
Oh, yeah.
Gotta
grind.
go back just when he thought he was out.
The other thing we should talk about real quick is the League of Legends project, which now has an official name, correct?
Yes, 2XKO, which is
Real easy. Rolls off
maybe
the
the
tongue.
worst name I've ever heard. That's terrible. Project L is a good name. I thought Project L was a great name.
You're
Project
saying
L's
it wrong.
Yeah.
It's Tex KO.
Is that
No.
true? Okay.
Somebody in a
That's
video
somehow
officially said
worse.
2XKO.
Okay. Cool,
2XKO. That's so bad.
It's
Does
really
it
it's
stand
not
for
good.
anything?
I imagine it's because it's a 2-on-2 fighting game. You have a
I think
character you
it-
switch with.
I think it would have been kind of cool if it was spelled 2XKO, but they pronounced it double knockout.
Oh, that's not bad.
That would have
Maybe-
been at least clever.
Can we get Riot on the horn real quick? Maybe
Yeah,
pitch
have
that to him? Because that's
Mr.
way
Let me,
better.
get, let me
Have-
call
have
up
you been-
Mr. Riot.
Have you
Yeah.
been taking marketing classes?
Free
Like, what's
tokens.
going on over here?
I don't know. I just
I told you
That's-
guys.
that would've been
Alex
cool.
is here for the marketing.
That's true.
It's been learning.
But yeah, this news just dropped like literally today. It's gonna be at I think Evo Tokyo, is what they said. It's gonna be there, and then they're hoping that it's gonna come out next year, which is really exciting. And you can sign up for like beta tests and stuff, which I already did. So hopefully some of us get to play that before it comes out.
Okay. All right, let's move on to a little WHYBPL.
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 Bipple.
WHYBPL.
Is this? Do we do this all the time? Is this the intro
It's a
to
thing
this
now.
section?
Yeah, it's a thing now.
WHYBPL.
Yeah, great. No, it's good. Real
What have you
good.
been playing lately? We're going to start with some group games. First and foremost, many of us have been playing Helldivers 2 since its launch day. Chad has put in an astronomical amount of hours, primarily just from sitting on his ship while he's working during the day and not actually playing.
Whoa. Accusations.
Oh yeah, let's see how many hours you have. How many hours you got, bud?
Only like 80.
Listen,
Yeah,
you
okay.
have to try to queue up to log in about 4 hours in advance. So
Not anymore.
Well, yeah, let me test it right
Oh,
now,
it's
and I'll tell
better.
you when I get in, so we can continue
Yeah.
the conversation.
They apparently have patched AFKers. Just kicking you.
Yeah, like those losers that just kept sitting in their ship because they just
Nerds.
wanted to play whenever they wanted to play. This freaking
Jerk would do that.
clogging up the servers. Like,
Ben told me the other day he remoted into his computer from work to boot up the game so that it would be ready when he got home.
I mean,
Oh my god.
why not,
Damn it,
right?
Alex, don't bring it up.
Well, look at that, I'm in.
See? It's all
Man.
fixed.
Maybe if people didn't AFK in the first place. it would've
So-
been fine.
Let's talk about this game real quick because we briefly touched on it last podcast. It came out exactly 2 weeks ago during like 3 hours for our last podcast. We have all put in a ton of time at this point. Helldivers 2 is the sequel to OG Helldivers. That is not the title. It's just called Helldivers, not OG Helldivers. This is a third-person squad-based shooter with just really unique mechanics when it comes to tossing out stratagems, which are these like things that come down from your starship essentially that you can utilize to turn the tides of battle. You're fighting off two different forces on either sides of the galaxy, the Terminids and the Automatons. Presumably we're going to have a third force here soon. I don't remember what they were called in the first Helldivers,
The
but
Illuminate.
Illuminate. And the loop is fairly straightforward. You get on your ship, you decide what difficulty you're going to play on. It goes from trivial all the way up to Helldive, level 1 to level 9. You go to a planet, you pick where you're going to attack. It's different types of missions, from launching an ICBM to just destroying a bunch of like spawn points for either of the enemy groups, to destroying like airports, or finding very specific tactical components to achieve during that mission. You accomplish, you go back up to your ship, you upgrade your weapons and your gear and your stratagems, and you go through that loop. And that is the game. It's not super complicated in terms of like a core gameplay loop, but somehow has attracted an astronomical amount of people in comparison to peak playership from Helldivers 1, which Chad can confirm me if I'm incorrect, but I think was around like 6,000-ish people.
Yeah, so Steam had 6,000. So it's probably, I mean, if you had to guess, Sony, maybe like 10K,
Okay.
maybe a little higher, 15 maybe. I don't know.
Peak playership for Helldivers 2 has been what, like almost 500,000?
Or 150 something thousand.
Yeah, we finally stopped peaking daily 2 days ago at 457,000.
And that's just Steam, right?
That's just Steam.
So it probably is over 500,000.
Somewhere
If not
around
even
there,
more.
probably.
I love this game. I don't know what you guys think about this game, but I'm here to hear opinions.
It's so awesome. The moment to moment, like, dynamic stuff just happens when you're out playing that just takes you by surprise constantly. It's like the same loop over and over again, but it's so satisfying every time, and it's exciting every time, and it just feels good. Like, even the fact that like shooting is not like pinpoint accurate,
Oh, yeah.
like with regular shooters, it's such a big addition to like the mechanics of you like scrambling to your feet and trying to turn around and get and shoot a bug or something. Because like the way the reticle works is like you've got like where you're pointing on the screen, that's like dead center all the time, but your person's aim isn't always dead locked to that center. There's like a little circle that kind of hovers around the center, and that's where you actually will be aiming. So you have to account for that when you're trying to hit people. It adds a lot to it, I think.
I will say that I loved Helldivers 1, but my issue and the reason I didn't really like it was kind of always a chore for me to try to play it was because it was top down. I don't like twin stick shooters, and that's pretty much all the Helldivers 1 was. But man, the gameplay loop and like the uniqueness that they brought to the table with it was just like too good to pass up in a couple rounds. Helldivers 2, third person shooter, sign me up. Like that's what's up right there. Also, like when you're fighting the Terminids, like if you ever want to have literal, not Terminids, automatons, if you want to have Terminator like simulation, like go play against them. It's some good stuff. I love the atmosphere that's created. Like there's some maps that are like dark and like hazy, but then you see the red laser from the pulses of the gun just flying across your screen and it lights up the area. The atmospheric lighting is just so incredible. Like you send a bomb somewhere and it blows up and it like actually lights up the sky, and now the area you're fighting within is like you can see what's going on now for that short amount of time that bomb's going off. There's also in the bug planets, there's like this fog that just takes over the map, and once you kill the spore tree, like you just like it clears up and you're like, oh my god, there's like a flat land here that you can actually see. And best moments are when like the big boys start coming at you from like across the distance, and you just see them and they're just like, we need to get some rockets down. We need to make sure that, we have our stratagems all punched in.
That's part of like the really cool part. It takes communication, teamwork, positioning. Like it's hard. It's a co-op game, but it's like hard and takes teamwork. That's not
also
super
friendly
often
fire.
you see that.
Big deal in this game too. A lot of your stratagems just will wreck your teammates.
You have like rocket launchers that you can reload yourself, and it will take you like, I don't know, like 3 seconds in combat, which is a long time. Or you can have somebody else wear your backpack for you with the rockets on it and stand next to you. You hit a button and it stands next to you, and like within a second, boom, your next rocket's in there. Fire it out, boom, your next rocket's in there. So like there's that huge teamwork in there. Knowing what stratagems you're going in with, especially in the higher missions, and I think that's where like the real fun begins. It's like suicide mission, impossible. Once we actually start reaching into the hell dive, like you actually have to think about what you're bringing instead of in the lower missions where it's just like, I'll just bring whatever and it's whatever.
Jump pack.
I'll just bring a jump. I knew you were going to say that. Jeez.
It's fun.
I think the thing that they nailed in this game is always making you feel like you're part of something much bigger. You're playing with a squad. There's 4 of you. You jump on a planet, you kill some Terminids or some automatons, you leave. But meanwhile, when you fly into that area, there's like 50 other starships with other Helldiver squads who are currently on the planet. When you land on the planet, there's freaking gunfire and explosions and ICBMs all off in the distance anywhere you look. And so you always feel like, even though you're doing this like one like tiny little mission, you're part of like this giant thing that's happening on this current planet. And it makes it feel so much bigger and so much more fun and interactive. And I'm pretty blown away by this game. Other than... Go ahead.
There's like overarching meta progression on the galactic war front for the entire player base. So like you have 2 war fronts right now against the 2 factions, and those push and pull depending on how well like the entire player base does in those sectors of the galaxy. So that is really cool to see. Like the big thing that happened in the first week was like we were pushing into the bug area, the Terminid area, and like taking over planets and doing pretty well there. And then all of a sudden, like midway through the week, the automatons launched a surprise attack against Super Earth and started taking over planets on the other side of the galaxy. And it was like everybody had to shift gears in the entire player base and start really focus on the automaton planets to try to push them back. And it's cool. I don't know.
Chaos. The other core component I love about this game is that they really leaned into the sort of like messaging style that they have and the diplomatic feels, I guess. The way that they present Super Earth, like the place you're defending and all the actions that you have to take, is so funny. Like they'll say things like, "Good job, soldier. I'm glad you were on the right side of history today." After you went and just like killed a bunch of bugs on a planet or killed some automatons, like just doling out liberty and freedom here and there, and it feels so like weirdly patriotic, but also there's like a tinge
Just
of
incredibly over the top.
this feels weird. It's just so well done.
I've been to that point. I've been hearing people kind of rumbling on different social medias saying that they want to have a faction that's the resistance that's against Super Earth because they think they're too colonizy.
No, they are colonizing for sure.
Yeah.
Super colonizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they want to be able to be part of a resistance force and just have their own little area somewhere, and then they want to introduce PvP to the game, which I don't really think PvP needs to be introduced. I don't know how it would actually work. And I think the thing that the devs want to avoid, and I think they've come out and said this, is whenever you have PvP in a game, there's some level of toxicity that kind of enters in. And I don't think there's that level of toxicity in there right now. There's more of a level of unity. Unity on such a level that it's actually erasing the console wars. Because PlayStation players are begging the developers to actually bring this to Xbox, to where Xbox will be able to help in the fight against the automatons or the Terminids, because we need them, and they know how to fight against this because they played Halo and stuff like that.
So ridiculous.
They fought against the Swarm in the Covenant, so they would be a good brothers in arms to fight against this.
The only thing I'm interested to see with this game is once we get to like the top tier difficulty and we've kind of like, fully kitted out our ship, how long that loop remains intriguing. I think that it really is going to depend on how much they decide to implement, similar to how like the automatons had a surprise attack. Maybe the Terminids change something around. I think they're going to need to introduce things to keep players occupied and keep them interested, because you just cap out on all the things you can do. You can no longer buy new stratagems. You can no longer requisition new materials. You're kind of just like stuck. I mean, you're going up in levels, but for what? You know what I mean?
The thing I can see them doing is as we get pushed back, we actually lose resources or lose different research that we've done, kind of somewhat soft resetting us, and maybe it implements new weapons, because we lost the rockets that we used to have, but now we found these grenade launchers, in research.
That'd be cool.
And so it like kind of shifts up they've already said that they're going to be tweaking the damage values. They're never going to tweak like ammo count, but damage values for weapons, to where like the breacher isn't the only gun everybody uses. So another
they
thing
also said vehicles are coming, so that'll be more things to unlock.
Ooh, okay.
Another thing that I think plays into this game being replayable is the community's kind of narrative that it brings to the table. So like I was saying with like the Xbox and Sony thing, if you don't engage in that, I don't know how much replayability would be towards after you unlock everything. Because like, what are you really playing for at that point? Because the most part of what you're playing for is unlocking stuff. But then after that, I think there is a little bit of fun that you can have doing Helldives. But after you've done, I don't know, 100 Helldives, like, do you really want to play a couple more? Like, something that you want to keep spamming? Like, what's the end game there?
And
Listen,
Helldives.
No, I'm here from Malevolence Creek. Listen, we gotta stick it to the automatons. Excellent game. If you haven't played it, go play it. The other group game we need to talk about is a game that we just started playing yesterday after also some launch issues similar to what we experienced with Helldivers a little bit.
Path of Diablo.
The Last Epoch.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. Ben, I think you brought this to the sort of table more than anybody else.
I think I mentioned it because I noticed that Caleb had pre-bought it.
Of course he had. He probably
and
kickstarted it 12 years
Yeah,
ago.
I
he
did.
did.
I believe
he
he
did
did.
kickstart it.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
my
I don't
fucking
understand
God.
that.
He's the worst. But I played. So it just released. What did I think it released 2 days ago? But it was in early access for a bit if you bought it ahead of time. So I played it for about a week coming up into the actual release. Yeah, I mean, like Chad joked, I mean it's an ARPG, so it's got a lot of similarities with Diablo. It's got a lot of things that I really, really like about it, and a lot of things that I'm not a fan of. On the plus side, most of the things I'm not a fan of are directly related to the server issues that Aaron mentioned. Took us, how long did you say it'd take all four of us to get in the game? 45 minutes? An hour?
No.
Get all of us
45
in
minutes.
there.
Wow.
So that was it was a little rough getting in, and the biggest thing which they have announced that it's their priority of patching right now is when you transition between zones in the game. There is there's no loading screen or anything. You just run up to like a big shiny light at the side of a map, and then like it's supposed to then just portal you to the next zone. The problem is right now that portal takes about 30 to 45 seconds to actually happen. So you just run up to it and you're just like,
Am I portaling?
am I portaling? Because it doesn't freeze or anything. You can still run around. You can go fight stuff while it's like, quote, portaling you. It's very confusing. And then suddenly you'll just be like, I don't know. I think the game's broken. And then you're just like, oh, nope, I'm loading in now. Okay. I think we had one time where somebody literally just got stuck in a zone. Like they couldn't get out of it whatsoever. I think
Caleb got stuck.
yeah, Caleb just got completely stuck in a zone. They have announced that they're working on that.
Yeah, as an update, today they pushed a backend fix that they say massively reduced the amount of logging, which they have reason to believe is contributing to the increased scene transition times.
Okay, that's good.
So maybe that has something to do with that. Maybe it'll be better today.
Only other thing that I can say and slightly annoys me about the game, which it seems like a weird decision on their part. So similar to Diablo, you can portal back to town when you're in the middle of a zone to like sell stuff, and then you can take your portal back to the zone you were in before. It does this. I don't understand why they did this, but when you do that and you come back to the zone, it wipes your map discovery. Like all the fog of war that you have like discovered throughout the zone that you were fighting in, it resets it as soon as you come back from town. Very annoying. I don't know why they do that. So you pop back in, you're just like, well, I hope I remember where I went because I can't see it on the minimap anymore. It's a really odd choice.
Very strange decision.
I think
But-
I talked to somebody about it, and they said they thought it was related to the fact that apparently the zones, unlike Diablo, are procedurally generated when you go
all
into
of
one
them.
of those. So that's
sounds
why
cool.
that's why it resets your map, because the map is actually different when you come back. That being said, I don't think it should procedurally generate if you just go to town
Yeah.
to sell stuff and come back. Like I
Probably
like
put
the
a hold
idea
on
of
that map.
generating the whole thing, but I think they need to they need to hold that. And it even happened one time we tested. I think three of us went back to town to sell, and Alex just stayed on the map because we were playing multiplayer. And when we portaled back to the map, like Alex was still there. The map didn't regenerate or anything, but our mini map's still wiped. It's just a weird decision.
From what I've read about it, it was originally a bug that they were going to fix, and then apparently they got some feedback that some people said it's actually like a pretty good feature, so then they just left it on purpose.
All right, so did one of their
It's a
dev
good feature.
team members say, "Hey, we can't fix this," and then somebody else in that room was like, "It's a pretty good feature," and then they just kept it?
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Believe it. And the good news, I personally really enjoy the leveling system. The combat feels really punchy. Like sometimes in Diablo, it can feel a little floaty, for lack of a better term. Like you're hitting buttons, your character's doing animations, and it just kind of feels like you're just walking through the enemies. Like there's not a whole lot of like, maybe it's because it's zoomed out more, but it feels like they don't react too much to your attacks. This game, I feel like it does a very good job of the attacks feel very impactful when you're hitting enemies. Like I'm very much enjoying the animations for everything.
I gotta go back to the map thing. I dumped like hundreds of hours into Diablo 4, and I can't imagine in a game like that not knowing where I've explored
It's very
and where
annoying.
I need to explore.
Well,
It's very weird.
and it also runs into the problem that like we just playing like we very quickly like faster than I normally would set up, which it does have very good loot filters, but we were setting up loot filters almost immediately to block out the commons, and I think a lot of us blocked out a bunch of the next tier up
Magics.
of rarity, the
Yeah.
magics too. But I wouldn't normally do that. I just, when my inventory was full, I just go to town, sell, and then come back. But the problem is I was
That's fast
actually
cash.
having to filter them out because it was such a huge pain in the ass to travel back to town. I was like,
Yeah.
I guess I'm not. And I suppose that could be a gameplay decision, but boy, is it not one that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
mean,
I think at least one of you mentioned this earlier, like the sort of leveling system in this game. I really like some of the choices they've made, and we've all kind of talked about this off cast, which that there's this like middle ground that it's trying to fit in. Multiple people have said this too, that it's like halfway between a Diablo and a Path of Exile, because it doesn't like trivialize your level ups, but it also doesn't give you this level up tree that's so astronomically large. I've used the word astronomical like 6 times in this cast. It's so big that you can't like decipher where your next node should be. In this, I think they did a good job choosing to like let you specialize in individual like abilities and then make those abilities better by choosing them specializations.
yeah,
But they all
I like
have a
that.
really cool tree, and they seem to really be like very different. Even the abilities themselves seem like they have, you know, as you get a certain way out on this tree, this ability no longer does what it once did. It does something completely different, actually, because you've modified it enough to be able to access these new abilities, which I think is it's a cool idea. I think it probably is. Maybe that's one of the reasons why this game took so long to develop, because there's a lot of trees, a lot of different abilities, and a lot of probably interaction between those abilities at like with not only just with one character but also 4 characters playing simultaneously. But good choices all around. I think I like that system. It feels like you can really customize your character without being confused as to like, I don't know what to pick next. I don't feel stuck.
What's the respecking like? Is it going to be super expensive late game? Do you guys know that?
I don't think so. The way respecking works, if I remember correctly, is a little odd. So you specialize in your skills, but the way the specialization works is you have up to 5 skills that you can basically level in. Like you can use all the skills, but you pick 5 to specialize in, where you can pick like perk points and things like that to change it. You can respec those, but the thing is, those points you earn by like actively using the skill and like killing enemies with that skill. So if you respec, I don't think there's a significant cost to respec, but when you put the new skill in, you have to start over from the beginning because you haven't been using the new skill to fight stuff.
That brings me to the next question. Is there world scaling? So does everything level with you, or can you go back to previous zones to help level those skills faster and they be lower level?
You can go back to previous zones. I actually looked that up.
Okay. Because
There are people talking about that. I think I saw several people in chat being like, hey, I just got to like level 40 and I respect a bunch of skills and now I can't do anything or hurt anything.
Right.
And people
that
are
was
like,
the
yeah,
issue in
it
Diablo.
sucks, but you got to go back and like fight the lower zones to like level your skills back up. And I think I heard that it's not too much of a pain. I mean, obviously you're grinding a bit there, but
there's also a concept of a minimum level for the skills. So as you get higher, your minimum level increases, and then when you respec, it'll only go down to that minimum level.
That's good.
Instead of 0.
It's probably a good choice. So it still requires you to put in some effort to get it. Like you're not just going to be respecking all the time to try out different builds. It requires effort to get back to where you're at, but it's not the same amount of effort to get there the first time.
It sounds like for a player like myself, I could try out multiple builds, no problem, and I would just grind out those skills over and over again. In Diablo, you literally had to find gear that had like +2 to that ability, but then also had the perfect stats on it. And like, if you didn't have that gear set and you were trying to switch your perks, you just wouldn't be able to do anything in that new skill set because you just don't have the armor pieces for the high tier content you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you guys see any gear that boosted abilities? I don't think I saw
Yes.
any while we were playing. Oh, you did? Okay.
I had one that gave me +1 to my chain lightning.
Okay. Wasn't sure if that was a thing.
Yeah, I don't really have a concept for how important gearing is going to be in endgame.
For reference,
like,
we got to
builds.
level 13 of 100,
Yeah.
so didn't get super far in the game.
Yeah, those concepts that I was talking about didn't happen until I was like 100 and like
Yeah,
trying to like push high nightmare dungeons.
still
Yeah.
could be similar. Depending
Basically-
on how that goes.
Yeah, basically this game gives me a vibe of something I'm going to super enjoy that I think released maybe like a month or two too early. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because even that zone loading issue, that was a thing in the early access. Like, I was noticing, like, I literally mentioned it before it released when I was playing early access. Like, I like it, but it wasn't as bad as it is right now, but it was still taking me a solid like 10 seconds to load between zones. And I was like, this is awkward and not great. And
Yeah.
I was like, maybe they'll fix it in the full release, and they did the opposite. They made it worse.
They'll
I
figure
think,
it out.
yeah,
At
at
least
least they
part
give
of
it a
that is
couple
server
patches.
load.
And yeah,
And if-
true.
They followed the skull and bones approach. I mean, come on. Quadruple A.
I think give it a month of patch fixes, and I will say the devs have been super communicative. They've been posting Reddit updates. I know their Discord, the devs were basically since release have been giving like 30-minute updates on everything they're doing and trying and getting really detailed with like the changes they're making.
Good for them.
Yeah.
And they've basically come out and said, like, I think they apologized at one point that he cracked a joke because like he put a post on Reddit like an hour before the release talking about how pumped they were and how ready they were for the masses of people. And then like the net 24 hours later, he put another post up and was like, obviously my last post aged like a fine milk because clearly we're still having problems. But they've been really good about that and making sure everybody's informed.
Good.
And I think this is their first game, right?
I don't know. If they had to kickstart it, probably.
It will be interesting to see how this game, as we progress later in levels, whether or not it really starts to slow down and feel really grindy, or if it still feels fresh as we're kind of modifying our abilities and kind of changing our approaches. But it's a really cool concept in the story we haven't really talked about, but it has to do with different timelines, different eras. So you're kind of like portaling between or teleporting between different timelines, but it exists on the same map essentially.
That was, yeah, we did notice that was one weird thing of like you're time traveling, but when you activate the portal back to town after you've time traveled, it just takes you to the town from pre-time travel, despite the fact that canonically you can't do that.
Yeah. Interesting.
I would have liked them to either like maybe change the town up a bit to show that you're in the future or
Yeah.
make it more obvious that you have a canon way that you can do that.
Wait a second. Your town didn't look different?
I don't think it did. Well, after the time travel, when we portaled to town, it just took us, I think it just took us back to the first town.
My town looked completely different.
Oh, really?
It was
Bug.
like dark.
Then
it
you
had,
gotta
like,
log back in.
It had like these like
I'm gonna go check, yeah.
purplish like vines that were growing over
We
the top
got-
of the waypoint. It looked
We got-
dungeony and
We got
dark.
to
We
a
got
second
to a town that was second town that was like that.
But before, maybe it was
Oh, okay.
just before we got to that second town, but
Yeah.
we portaled, quote, to town before we had discovered the
I
first
understand what
town
you mean
in the
now.
new
Yeah,
zone,
yeah.
and it took us to the old zone.
They probably should just not let you portal to town until you find
Honestly,
the new town
yeah.
in the new
Yeah.
era.
That's the fix for it. I don't know
Okay,
why I'm
got it,
launching
got
this.
it.
It's just going to take me to the new town now that I've discovered it. I'd forgotten
Let's move
that
on
was
to let's move on to a couple games that we've all been playing just kind of individually. Jake, we're going to start with you since I haven't heard from you in a minute. Sorry, we've
Oh
been
my
talking about
gosh.
games you haven't been playing.
Are you
No,
alive?
no, it's fine. No, I'm here. Am I muted?
No, you're there.
No,
No, you're
okay,
not.
Cool. No, so I've really only been playing one thing. I got into Marvel Midnight Suns. It's from like a few years ago, but it was in last month's Humble Bundle. So I got it, I installed it, and then I actually picked up all the DLC for it. It went on sale a little bit after it was in that Humble Bundle. So this, for anyone who doesn't know, this is sort of like, it's from the guys who made XCOM.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
like a tactics game, but it's all about Marvel superheroes. And it's actually quite good. The combat, especially, is really, really good. The way it works is each hero has essentially like a deck of cards that represents all of their moves. So sort of between missions, you can upgrade their cards or swap out cards or get new cards and all that kind of good stuff. So you put together a card, you go on a mission, you bring 3 heroes on a mission, and a lot of the emphasis is on sort of managing crowds a little bit. A lot of moves have knockbacks, so you want to like knock enemies into each other to take down like the really low health guys, so that way you can focus on the big health guys who are doing more damage to you. A lot of the environments will have like there's like environmental effects, so you can like shove a trash can at people and it'll knock them around and do a bunch of damage, or you can throw people into explosive barrels. It's really fun. And I think they do a really good job of sort of capturing every hero's personality through their card decks. So, like, you have Captain America, and he's a really good tank. He generates a lot of shield, he does a lot of taunt. Whereas, like, Iron Man has a mechanic where you can sort of upgrade his cards by you can basically discard a card from your hand to draw a new one, and Iron Man has a mechanic where if you attempt to discard one of his cards, you can upgrade it instead. So, like, instead of just discarding this and getting a new card, use one of your discards on this card, and you'll get, you can target an extra enemy with it or whatever. It's really, really fun. Unfortunately...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, ask your question before I move away from the combat.
I was just going to ask, because you said this is from the XCOM people. Is this more like, is it like a story-based, where you're just kind of like progressing a story while you're playing, or do you more have like a home base that you're building up sort of thing?
So,
like XCOM-y?
Let's get into the not-so-good part. There is a base part. And they spent a lot of time on it. It's really big. Too big, you could say.
Oh, no.
Like, it would have been better if they didn't spend nearly as much time on it. So there's, like, this huge open-world area that you can run around in third person. You just run around, you can run around. There's, like, gardens where you can run around and gather ingredients. You can just... I don't know. It's huge, and there's all this shit, and you don't need to do it. I don't know why it's here, really. It feels like they just... Either their ambition was too big, or they had too much money? I don't know why all of this crap is here.
Huh.
And then there's a lot of stuff that's just sort of, like, time-wasty. I think one of the great things about XCOM is you get out of the mission, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna level up my soldiers, then I'm gonna go straight into engineering, and I'm gonna build some new body armor. Then I'm gonna go to the science lab and I'm gonna dissect some aliens. And all that takes like 5 fucking minutes. You're just boom, 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 boom. You're just doing cool shit. At the end of a Midnight Suns mission, you go back to base, and it's evening, so you can go hang out with one of your squad mates. And the writing's not that great. So you go and you hang out, and it's like whatever, you level up your friendship, and you can... The higher up your friendship is, you get more perks. It's kind of like a Persona thing. But like, it's not very enjoyable. It's whatever. Then the next day, you can go to a place to cash in the loot box you got from your last mission to get more cards. And then you can go to another place to upgrade those cards. And then you can go to another place to cash in a different kind of loot box to send heroes on, like, away missions. And it's like...
I hate away missions.
Yeah, right? Like, it just... It's all over the place, and you have to run to like 3 separate locations.
It's not a joke, by the way. I
No,
absolutely hate away missions in any video game.
Yeah, same.
They don't really add much. Like, I don't think they've ever been like anything other than busy work in any game I've ever played.
Like,
That's
literally
too bad.
just like occasionally deliver money and resources and be like, oh, you guys were doing stuff when you weren't playing. Cool, move on. Like, you don't have to manage it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just like, I think the cleanest example I can give is the thing where you, at the end of every mission, you get a loot box that you can go to a place to cash in that loot box and get new cards. Why is that like a 5-step process? How about when I finish a mission, just pop up new cards and I get the new cards? Like, I don't need to get a box and take it to fucking Tony Stark and he plays an animation of him opening the box and then I get the cards. Just give them to me. Why are we wasting time running around doing all this crap? There's 2 different places where you can craft items, and they both craft different items. Just give me one place to craft items, guys. I don't know why they decided to add all this crap when like XCOM like nailed it.
Yeah, they did. It's man, that's too bad.
But
I'm glad the core gameplay loop outside of that area is good.
It's really enjoyable. I really, really like the combat. I'm having a good time playing it.
Does the remainder ruin the game for you, or is it like
for
is it
me? It doesn't. I feel like I have a lot of patience when it comes to stuff like this. I could definitely see people getting sick of it really fast.
Yeah, and would you have patience with it if it was a TV show or a movie?
Oh my gosh, Ben.
Would you have patience with it
We're back.
if you were walking up a mountain and then back down a mountain?
Yes.
Hey, man.
Up
It's
and
just
down.
a strand. Is this strand? Is we just talking strand?
No, we're
No.
talking
No,
about
that
War
was Scott Wars
2018.
2018.
Oh, that callback. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
It's a blast from the past. One other thing I wanted to say about this game, I really like the way they handle difficulty. Well, yeah, it's okay.
Reconsider for a second.
So the baseline, the way it works is the game just has a difficulty, and as you complete missions, you unlock higher difficulties, and you can switch to the higher difficulty to get higher rewards for missions. I think that's really cool because it lets you get comfortable at a difficulty and go and kind of evaluate for yourself, is this too hard or do I want to make this harder? I think that's really cool. The thing that gave me pause is the starting difficulty is way, way, way easy. So I do kind of wish you at least had the option to go to hard right from the jump.
That would
But
be nice.
It's cool to be able to play a game and sort of... You can see as you play what difficulty is right for you, rather than a lot of games where you lock in the difficulty, and then it's like, do I restart at a lower difficulty?
No, you just commit. You just grind.
Yeah, you stay at
Yeah,
the
you
hardest
just suffer.
difficulty.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you complain on podcasts about.
That's right.
Man, they're just like they were just
Bullet
so
sponges.
squished. Yeah, bullet sponges, and they were just like
Mm-hmm.
I hit them so many times, and then they hit me twice, and I died. I don't understand
The boss fights, Chad. It's the boss fights. That's what matters.
exactly.
Ben, how about you? What have you been playing?
The only game that we haven't mentioned so far that I've been playing is Jake and I both played some Wizard of Legend, which has been pretty fun. Older game, I think older.
Almost
But-
certainly.
Few years at least.
I was gonna say, has anybody else here played this one before?
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a so it is a roguelike. I think it's only up to 2 players. But
Perfect
it is
amount.
yep. Could be worse, could be 3.
True.
But it's so it's a roguelike where you're wizards who are basically going through these like trials that basically go through several floors of what is effectively a dungeon. And then every several floors you have to fight a boss who is like a big wizard who focuses on one element. The system is based around in between runs you can unlock different mage cloaks which give you upgraded stats, but the big thing is that you can start every run with 4 different spells. The spells are like cards that you can equip to different hotkeys and then do different stuff depending on the spell. You start with a quick spell, which is kind of like a basic attack style thing, a dash, a regular spell, and then one that's like a charge/ultimate spell that does extra damage if you've charged up your ultimate bar. There is a lot of customization you can do because there's tons and tons of different kinds of spells. They're roughly sorted into those different types, and then they're sorted by element. And it's interesting because you can mix and match elements up a lot together. I know Jake and I think we started by kind of going like we each picked an element to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
But as you're doing the run, you can unlock and add up to 2 additional spells to the ones you know. And I think the last time we played started noticing, well, at least I started noticing that there's a lot of opportunities for good combos that are outside of the same elements. Things like I want to say I think I had like an electric spell that did tons of damage, but it shot out electric balls that moved really slowly. I comboed that with an ice spell that froze people in place, so that way I could do the big attack on them without them dodging. There's a lot of customization in there. It's very interesting.
Yeah, the only combo I really appreciated was Ben and the Grave. There's a lot of getting Ben up from getting knocked down. I don't know.
Don't play. I play maybe too aggressively for that game and died significantly
No.
more often than Jake did.
No,
It feels similar to when me and Caleb played that game. And Caleb had res me a lot.
The res system's fine. It's pretty decent. You die, and then after you die, you're a little ghost that floats around. You can't really interact. You can emote at the other guy. But after you're dead, every enemy, or at least most enemies that the living player kills, drops a little green orb that you as a ghost can go pick up. And once you've picked up enough of them, you can res yourself. So you can't be resed immediately by your ally. He has to go and actually kill enemies in order to get you to res back up.
Oh, that's an interesting mechanic.
Yeah. It did run into one time where we didn't have enough enemies left, so Jake had to go fight a boss with me still dead because there weren't enough enemies left for him to res me before a boss. But other than that, I mean, it was an interesting setup.
They are making a Wizard of Legend 2, and it is
Oh,
going to be 4
really?
players.
Ooh.
I mean, I'd recommend it. It was very good. I'm probably going to keep suggesting Jake and I play it next time he comes over. We were playing it couch co-op.
Nice.
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 Chad, how about you?
Nice.
Yeah, I have a lot to say. I have 2 games that I've been playing other than Helldivers, which I haven't really been playing, but I have kind of been playing. Hawked is one of them. I played a couple rounds of this. It is an extraction shooter, so it's PvPvE. It's cartoony, third person. The guns are kind of unique, and they have like different rarities that you can find and pick up. You're kind of just killing the environment. Something kind of interesting in this one is you're doing puzzles to try to get relics, and then you want to extract with the relics to where you can eventually buy different upgrades or, skills or, stuff that you can take in with you for the next go around, round, whatever you want to call it. It's interesting. It's another BR. I mean, it's gunplay's fine, I guess. Something that I could see myself playing with some friends here and there, but probably just go back to Fortnite, to be honest with you, because best VR out there for me. Another game I've been playing is WoW Classic, and I think last podcast I was in the grind to get the 40 from 25. That took me all of in-game real hours, like 42 hours ish. While there were actually people within the first 12 hours already 40 and beat the raid. That's insane. The new raid's pretty cool. It's just a revisited Nomergon, so it's a dungeon that everybody's kind of already knows, and just kind of revamped bosses, and it was cool to see the fresh take with my guild going through that, because the last raid that I did, I was kind of slow to level and was not with the group of let's figure this raid out. So there's a lot more theory crafting that we were doing, a lot more figuring out what comp we needed, who was going to do what role. So it's a lot cooler than just kind of riding the coattails of, all right, just stand over there, the boss is going to do this, or just smack it. Also, they made this raid harder than the last one, so it's been interesting to see the guilds tackle it, and I'm excited to play some more of that. And that's all I've been playing, other than Helldivers 2.
Cool. Alex?
Yeah, I really just kind of wanted to mention that the Deep Rock Galactic people put out a Vampire Survivors type game, Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. I've been playing a little bit of that. It's kind of, I know, right? What should we call it? I don't know. Let's put Survivor on the end.
Survivor
Yeah, love it.
Oh no.
It's
There's
like the same.
one now.
So it's the same thing where you level up your dude and you're dodging enemies and walking around and fires coming out of your body or whatever. But the twists they have in this one are instead of just trying to go as long as you can and you die at some point and then you level up stuff and then you try to go as long as you can again. you basically got like an objective you're trying to do when you go in, and then you extract in like your little capsule, your Deep Rock Galactic capsule thing. And you can also mine, because that's like a core part of Deep Rock Galactic is mining. So you're going in trying to find resources in the walls and stuff and mine like gems and crap, and then you extract with that stuff and then use it to upgrade your dude. And it's got like the same classes from the base game, like the scout and all that. So kind of interesting. Little twist on the genre. It seems pretty competent so far.
How much have you played? A lot of this?
Not a ton.
Okay.
But I mean, seems pretty good. That development team is really good at responding to their community and stuff like that. So
That's nice.
I hope so.
I'll go last. I wrapped up Portal Revolution last week. I talked about it on the podcast 2 weeks ago. If you have not played this, you love Portal, go play this. It's excellent. I think it's very well done. Yes, excellent. Thank you, Alex. Yes, it's excellent.
Oh, it's one of those games.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess we've all thought about doing that with the Portal, so I guess that makes sense.
It is excellent. I think they did a really good job of staying true to the story of Portal. This honestly could be tied right into some of the existing Portal storyline. They also did a good job of sort of iterating on the formula of how you solve puzzles. They've added in new mechanics. They've added in a new goo. They've added in a new sort of laser redirect cube. They have added in some new movement mechanics for how you traverse levels. Across the board, very well executed, very fun. Obviously, it's a short game. It's like 7 hours or something, but
Oh, not that short, though.
voice acting even really good. And for free, it's a Portal game. I mean, Portal is highly regarded as one of the best video games to ever be made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's really true to that, and I think everybody should check this game out. It's a lot of fun.
How do the puzzles stack up to ones in Portal?
I think there are two different puzzle types. The first part of the puzzles, you only have the blue portal gun, and they really force you to rethink how to navigate compared to OG Portal. Alex pointed this out at one point, that if you go back and play the original Portal game, it is like almost trivial in terms of puzzle solving.
Sure.
This is not like that. I mean, you still start out with just the original gravity gun with only a blue portal, but it is immediately complex. They do a good job. The other component, after you sort of get the orange portal, the one thing they do a really good job of is making you, we'll call it, iterate through the sort of map of a single puzzle multiple times. So instead of just having like a single traversal path where you have to make it from point A to point B and it requires you to do, components X, Y, and Z, instead you have to make it from point A to point B, but it's going to require you to do the same point A to point B loop a couple times, but utilize different environmental mechanics and core game mechanics within that one puzzle room in order to accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish. So like maybe you're able to traverse there the first time to get to the exit door, but the problem is you have to activate two other things. But in order to activate them, you have to get to the exit door because that's where some of the components you need are. So then you have to go back and solve the puzzle a different way and then solve it a different way in order to get all the way to the end of those puzzles and actually feel like complete them. So that part, I don't remember a lot of that from either Portal 1 or Portal 2. I think they were very... linear is not the right word, but they didn't make you like loop through the same puzzle multiple times to create a solution. It was, once you had it solved, it was solved. This is not like that. It does add that extra layer of complexity, and I think it does a really good job of it. Granted, you ask Caleb, he's like, I wrapped that game in like 4.5 hours. It's boring. Probably. I don't know if that's what he'd say, but you know how Caleb's...
Probably.
How
Sounds
long
like
the times
it's like,
are.
yeah, I kickstarted this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I already played it.
Smug face.
Exactly.
But again, I honestly, if I could give these developers money, I would. I think this game's worth it. I would pay, $15, $20 for this game, whatever. It's a good game. It's fun.
He said it was aight.
Yeah, of course he did. It's not I. It's better than I.
I'm surprised Valve is letting stuff like this get made. I guess they also let that
Yeah, the Half-Life game be completely
Yeah.
remastered with new levels.
Oh,
that
not
wouldn't
even
surprise me.
that. I was talking about Hunt Down the Freeman. Does anyone remember this?
Oh.
It was a really shitty, like, fan game that
I will
was made
say,
a few years
this
back.
this one, I think the only reason it's allowed is because they're not charging for it. It was my understanding.
Mm.
Since it's free, they're not getting any money out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Hunt down the Freeman. Costs $10.
What was
Yeah.
that? What was the Half-Life remake though that had a completely different name but cost
Black
like
Mesa.
$20? Black Mesa. How does that one? That one's the one that
That
blows
one
my mind.
confuses me. Yeah,
I don't know.
I think I own that actually. I haven't played it.
Because with that one, not only did they remaster it, but they were also like, yeah, this ending's not good enough. Here's another like 3 levels.
No, I do not own it.
Okay.
I mean, like, a lot of this stuff is normally within the vein of, like, modders would just do it, but what blows my mind is that Valve is just, like, gets behind it and just puts it on Steam.
Yeah. Because, like, okay, like, Portal Revolution, it's a free mod pack, sure. But, like, Hunt Down the Freeman was a game taking place in the Half-Life universe being sold for money on Steam.
Yeah, that is weird.
Like, what? Like, I appreciate them. I think it's cool that they do stuff like this, but, like,
Yeah, why?
I don't know, there's probably a line between this and what Nintendo does, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
maybe we
It's
don't
'cause
just
they're
give
oh,
away our
we don't
IP.
make video games anyway, so whatever,
I
if you
mean-
want to make them for us.
Maybe.
Back to Portal Revolution for a second. I hear Caleb's I8 and I raise him 13,500 reviews of overwhelmingly positive on
Yeah,
Steam.
get his ass.
So get at me, bro.
Yeah. Get him.
Anyway, go play this game. If you like Portal at all, go play this game. Again, it's just they do a good job. They do a really good job. So go check it out. And that's our podcast. We made it.
We did it.
We've arrived. You know, weirdly
Pretty
enough,
short.
we spent a lot of time talking about the Stream Wars and more than anything else, and Xbox games going
Yeah.
on to PlayStation. But I don't know. It's just really interesting. So I'm glad we sort of zone on to those topics sometimes and really branch out on them. But we'll be back in 2 weeks, talk more about games. I'm sure there's going to be some things come out between now and then that we're all excited about. So thanks so much for joining us. We will catch you next time.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.